MMA Fighting presents Timeline, Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal 2.
September 11th, 2010, Shark Fights 13, Jardine versus Prangley, Amarillo, Texas. With 25 fights already under his belt, with the majority being at the lightweight limit, Masvidal moves up in weight to face elite welterweight striker Paul Daly. Daly wins a very competitive decision and moves Masvidal's record to 20 victories and 6 defeats.
I mean, if it's livable. 1, 2, 3,
March
4, 5,
5th,
6, 7, 8,
2011,
9, 10.
Strikeforce, Feijão versus
Clear with that
Henderson,
IL-19?
Columbus, Ohio.
You got me good and
The
clear?
26-fight veteran makes his televised Strikeforce
Yay.
debut opposite the undefeated 11-0 Billy Evangelista. Masvidal wins by decision.
Obviously, I wanna put on great shows. You know, these guys always put on great shows, and I want to put a great show on. But naturally, I'm a counter fighter, and if Billy was coming forward, I was just gonna look the counter fight. You know, so I wish I could have got, you know, the fans cheering and doing backflips, but didn't happen this time. Next time, you know. No, I wasn't surprised. I always go into a fight like wanting a knockout, but if I don't see an opening, I won't go crazy. You know, I hit Billy with some good shots, and he recovered right away, so I wasn't gonna overextend myself or get caught in any silly things, you know. So I don't care. Win's a win for me, you know. I just want to keep winning, building my wins up. I know Billy had like 6 or 7 straight wins in Strikeforce, so he's definitely got to be up there. If I can't fight for the title, the next toughest guy out there, I'd like to fight him and kick his butt, you know. That's all I want to do, man. Just keep fighting, man. Whoever it be next.
June 18th, 2011, Strikeforce, Overeem versus Verdum, Dallas, Texas. Masvidal returns to the Strikeforce hexagon to face former Elite C lightweight champion KJ Nunes.
You know, you made your Strikeforce debut in March. You had that dominant win over Billy Evangelista, but there were some boos in the crowd and there were some people who criticized you for maybe going the safe route. What did you think of your performance and of the criticism you received afterwards?
Well, a lot of people, man, the people booing in the crowd never really care because half of them are drunk. They just want to see sock'em, rock'em robots, you know, and that's not me. You know, I never done that. I put out guys in the first round, but that's because I created openings and I heard them and I followed up on it. I'm not a guy that's going to get hit just to give a hit, you know. I'm going to hit you and I'm going to move and I'm going to move my head, you know. Some people don't like it, some people love it, you know. I got just the interview before. I just did an interview right now and they were telling me, it's like, hey, that last fight was really close and you're telling me I blew the guy away. So it's like, you know, everybody, that's their opinion. I can't get mad, you know, and hopefully the fight on Saturday, they like it more, man.
He told us that he has a hard time not looking past you because he really wants to fight for the title. Are you in the same position? Are you kind of starting to think about Gilbert because maybe a win over him will lead to a title shot?
Man, of course I want that gold wrapped around my waist. That means a lot more money. But if Cage is looking past me, man, he's gonna wake up with a tube in his mouth, getting rushed to the hospital, you know. So he could do whatever he wants. I'm looking at him and only him. After him, I don't know if I'm gonna fight for the title. I don't know if I'm gonna fight Justin Wilcox. I don't know if I'm gonna, you know, I wouldn't want to fight Jay-Z, but you know, whoever it be next, man, I'm ready for it, you know. So I'm not looking past KJ. I want to destroy him, you know.
Masvidal wins by unanimous decision.
Post-fight at Strikeforce in Dallas with a very happy Jorge Masvidal who defeated KJ Nunes tonight. And Jorge, congratulations on the big win. A lot of people were saying this was one of your best performances of your career. Would you agree?
I definitely think it's good. Everybody likes that. Like, I don't know if I was you that I told earlier, or I forgot who, that rock'em sock'em, you know, hit the guy, get hit, you know, and that's why people liked it, because KJ, though, he got it from the kick. He was putting pressure on me. He wasn't hitting me, but he was putting good pressure, so I know people like that. But it's, I thought my Billy Evangelista fight was a real good fight. You know, Billy's real tough. He kept coming forward the whole time. I didn't take no hits, no damage. And that's what I think it is, as close as you can to perfection. Don't give him no takedowns, don't get punched in the face and score, you know. And that's what I think makes a good fight. Not you get hit, you come back, you know. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's funny how it works in MMA because a lot of people, as we talked in the pre-fight interview, were criticizing you for that performance, and they loved this performance because it was rock'em sock'em. And I think a lot of people are now.
So I didn't get hit, just this.
Right.
It wasn't rock'em sock'em, you know. It was close to the rock'em sock'em, you know. But still, I was the way that I picture fight is like a pretty thing, you know. You hit, you move, you think, you know. When the guy does this, you do that, and if he does that, you do this, you know. And that's how I think a fight's pretty, you know. Some guys just want to see two guys punching, you know what I'm saying? Just punching each other in the head so one of them drops, and that's cool now, but that's not how I was raised to fight, and that's not what I think a long-lasting career in any sport of combat will take you to the higher levels, you know what I'm saying?
Do you feel as though now you have, you know, it's funny because I remember talking to you right after Amada submitted you, and you were.
Dude, they let you out of Canada? Oh, there we go. So a little bit different from the last time you were here, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's let's hope it goes different than last time I was here too. Yeah, the process is more reformed now. You know, it's a lot smoother sailing. Yeah, it's been fun, man. I've only been here a couple of days, but it's been good.
Yeah, are you excited to be back in front of the fans?
Man, I couldn't be more excited. That's what I'm most excited about. I don't carry a lot of nervous energy or anxiety or anything like that leading into fights, especially the night of the fight. So I've always relied on the crowd to really give me that energy and kind of, I don't know, just I guess pump that energy into me. You know, I feed off of it. So I'm really excited to have that back.
And what do you like about this matchup with Jimmy? I know he was calling for this one, right?
Yeah, he's been asking for this one for a long time. And for whatever reason, it just didn't work out. It wasn't that I was unwilling. It just, I think, our way our schedules were. You know, I'm excited for it. I like his style. I like his game. I like how he approaches it. I like, you know, he wants to strike and grapple and wrestle, and he's willing to do it all. So, I think it's good for my career. You know, I think the knock on me kind of coming up to the title fight was that I was fighting the older guys, and although they were Hall of Famers or, excuse me, or, you know, former champions, I think that the knock was that they were older guys. So, I fight Devin Clark, who's a young up-and-comer, thinking like, oh, okay, so here's a young guy. You know, I beat him, and then people, well, he's not that good. Like you can't make everyone happy, but I think a win over Jimmy Crute, I think just legitimizes that I'm as good as I say I am.
Yeah, did that last win over Devin, do a lot for you? I mean, I know there was a lot of talk after the back-to-back losses and stuff, and that just helped you get back to where you need to be mentally.
Yeah, I felt, I'd never really wavered too much, man. I really hadn't. Like, I was obviously down and was having some of my own personal, like, I don't know, mental and emotional problems that I think really showed themselves in my fighting career. I was just having a lot of problems personally. So I was able to work on those. I did the personal work. I did the mental work and spent a lot of time with my therapist and really just working out my own issues. And I think that it showed in the Devin Clark fight. I think that it showed I kind of cleared up all that bullshit and was able to go into a fight completely clear-minded and happy.
And if you win this one, I mean, do you kind of want to go back to fighting, top-ranked contenders and stuff in there? If you kind of prove yourself back-to-back against, as you said, these younger guys?
Yeah. And I've always respected the game. So I understand that you're either in two positions in this sport. You're either climbing or you're defending. On my way to the title, I was climbing my way to the top and always looking ahead of me. You drop a couple fights and you stub your toe a little bit. You got to kind of defend your spot a little bit. I know that Dana respects that. I know that the UFC respects that I was willing to fight a guy like Devin Clark with absolutely nothing to gain and everything to lose. And here I am doing it again. And I'm doing that to show that I don't give a shit who you put in front of me. I'm going to defend my position, and then after this, we can get back to climbing.
Right. When Jimmy Crute made his pro debut, I think you had already 30 plus MMA fights under your belt. So how far back did Jimmy Crute get on your radar? Or can you remember like a performance you saw where like, I'm probably gonna have to fight that guy?
Was it the last fight he knocked that guy out with like a nasty overhand?
Yeah.
That was the first time I'd ever seen him fight. Like I knew who he was, like I knew his name, but that was the first time I'd ever watched him fight.
And speaking of that performance, like it was
And to be honest, I haven't watched him since.
that was gonna be my next question. So
I haven't seen him fight one time.
No, you don't watch tape on the guy?
Nah.
Not related to this fight, but what do you think of the Jan Glover title fight coming up at the end of this year?
Man, if there's ever like a good thing that just needs to happen in this sport, I think that those two guys fighting is one of those things. Glover did beat the shit out of me, but it doesn't mean that I can't respect him. You know what I mean? I respect his journey a lot. And at 41 years old, to just all of a sudden turn it around and just wind back the clock, it's been incredible to watch. If I was going to lose like that to someone, I'm glad that it was Glover Teixeira. I'm glad that he's getting the title shot. I'm glad that he didn't take a fight in the meantime, waiting on Jan. I'm glad that Jan decided to come back earlier than he wanted to. I think the only thing that would be better is the only thing that would make this any better would be if Glover wins. And that's not because I want Jan to lose. Look at like what a world we live in where Glover Teixeira and Jan Blachowicz could end their careers as world champions. Like, that's incredible. That's incredible. I think it's just a really good it's a feel-good story, you know. And so I'm happy that that's happening.
And what do you make of Jan as champ right now? He's
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. That guy started his UFC career like 1-4 or 1-5 or 2-4, something like that. On the verge of being cut from the UFC, and then moves on to not only win the world title and then do it, over with crazy knockouts, you know what I mean? And then taking the knockout loss to Thiago Santos and then battling back to knock out Corey Anderson, Luke Rockhold, and Dominic Reyes back to back to back. That shit's crazy to me. It's crazier to me, I think, specifically because I'm in the division. So I know how hard it would be to get over on Luke, Corey Anderson, and Dominic Reyes, and then beat Izzy. If I was that dude, I'd retire right now and just call it a day after that.
And you don't have to answer this, but Damon Martin texted me to ask you if you're a fan of Jake Paul yet.
God damn it, Damon. No, I'm not a huge fan of Jake Paul. That's for sure.
Hey, Anthony, over here in the back.
Gotcha.
You've done work, obviously, for ESPN as an analyst. They're doing a lot of fun stuff at the Apex and now on the road with the weigh-in shows and the games and all that.
Yeah.
If you end up at the pay-per-view pre-show for the weigh-ins, how do you think you'll do with the games, the spelling bee, the geography tests, all that stuff they're doing?
Listen, I think I do really good on the spelling tests. The geography, not so much. If it's not Nebraska, I probably don't know where it's at. So I'm really looking forward to working those pay-per-view pre-shows. And I'm excited to give DC some shit. He kind of just bullies everyone around a little bit. No one except for Chiesa really comes at him. And so I'm excited to flip DC some shit. So I think they were talking, I don't know. I got one coming up, though. I'm not sure which one it is, but I got one coming up.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony over here. You talking about you're not a fan of Jake Paul, but do you think he gives insight on how to make money in this combat sports game? Because 1.3 billion buys don't lie.
Listen, my anyone that's followed my career knows kind of how I operate, and I don't really. Is he generating money? For sure, but he's not bringing our pay scale up at all. He's paying himself, and that's really it. And whatever bum he drags in the fight. I'm really about respect, man. Like the things that you can say what you want about Ben Askren and his skills and his abilities, but that dude has won multiple world titles in multiple different organizations. He was an Olympic level wrestler. He was a multiple time national champion wrestler. All these people, all these fighters that are walking around here today, if Ben Askren walked in this room, every single fucking one of those guys would get out of the way and let him walk through. So like the way that Jake Paul talked to him, I had really, really big problems with when he was saying that Ben wasn't able to talk about fighting. Like that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. As far as the business in the game, and the way that he's generating interest and like the financial part of it and the marketing part of it, Jake Paul's doing a phenomenal job. I don't expect him to fight world champion boxers or even UFC top 5 or top 10 ranked guys who can strike. I don't expect him to be able to do that because he just hasn't been in the game long enough, and that's not his fault. I think he's approaching it the right way. I think he takes it very serious. I think he trains really hard. I think that he really puts the work in. It's the same reason I stuck up for CM Punk the whole time. I always think everyone has the right to. I think everyone has the right to get punched in the face for money if that's what they want to do. I don't like the disrespect of guys in the game that deserve to be respected.
And my final question: do you think we'll see more fights like that with people going for the money?
I hope so. I do, man. I hope so. I hope that more guys get those kind of opportunities. I like the crossover stuff. I think people think it's kind of circus show, but I think it generates interest. I think the fans like it. I tuned in. I paid for it. I like that kind of stuff.
Anthony over here. Doing the analyst work that you've been doing recently, do you feel like that's improved yourself as a fighter at all by being able to study people a little bit more than maybe you normally would?
Yeah. I think it's helped my mental preparation a lot. As fighters, we don't typically watch two guys that are completely unattached to us. Like if I'm watching a guy at light heavyweight fight, I'm always thinking, how would I fight that guy? What could I do there? But when you're watching, like, I don't know, Benavidez versus Figueiredo, right? Yeah. Neither one of those guys are anywhere close to me. I have nothing to do with those guys as far as my career goes. And it's not even what I would do with Benavidez or what I would do with Figueiredo. It's if I was Joseph Benavidez, how would I fight Figueiredo? And looking at it completely separated from that is really, it's kind of made me a bigger fan of the sport, because I guess I didn't realize how good some of these guys are and just how smart they are and how they approach the game. And then a lot of the younger guys, it's been really fun to watch some of the guys coming off the Contender Series and, like the first 3 fights of the night that no one seems to give a shit about. I've been having a lot of fun trying to give those guys as much love as I can, because sometimes I don't think they get it.
Yeah, and a lot of fighters have gotten into doing commentary too. Is that something you'd ever be interested in doing?
Yeah. It's a lot more work than working the desk. And I think they're pretty set on the commentary guys right now. I think once we start traveling again, like doing international shows, I think that's when I may have an opportunity. But as far as all the shows stateside, I think that there's plenty of guys. You got Bisping, Felder, DC, Dominic Cruz, and then, the guys that are doing the play-by-play. So I absolutely don't deserve an opportunity with those guys kind of reigning over the commentary stuff. That's their spot. But I think when we start traveling internationally, I'll start pushing for those opportunities more.
And last thing for me, as for the fight itself, do you feel like pressure relief at all when you're on such a big card like this and maybe the focus isn't on you as much, like spotlight-wise?
Yeah, I had 7 straight main events. And 2 of them weren't supposed to be main events, but last second it ended up being that way. So it's nice to kind of just sit in the back, and I guess there's not a whole lot of focus on me. Like and deservingly so. Like the 3 title fights absolutely deserve the attention they're getting. So it's nice to just let them kind of take it and deal with it.
Yeah. Thanks, Anthony. Good luck.
Thank you.
Who you got in the Who you got in the main event? Masvidal and Usman. You don't have to give a prediction, but like, what do you make of the fight?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot more exciting than the last one. I like how Usman seemed to, in his last fight at least, I think he took on a better, well-rounded, more dangerous guy in Gilbert Burns. I'm not saying that Gilbert Burns is better than Masvidal. I think that he just brings more problems to the table. Like Masvidal, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into. Like that dude is a savage on his feet, but you don't got to worry about that dude hitting blast doubles and passing your guard and choking you. You know what I mean? So. And to see Usman really go at him and attack him and try to take him out, I thought that was a really cool evolution in his game. And if that guy shows up, I think it's going to be a really interesting night. I think that Masvidal is going to have more gas this time and not such a hard weight cut, and I think he's going to really push the pace. So I expect a really high-paced fight.
Anthony, down here in the front, you've been fighting mixed martial arts for 13 years now. What do you think that says?
I had 2 years as an amateur too. Before
right.
that, it's crazy, right?
So what do you think about that? What do you think says? Sorry, what do you think that says about your longevity in the sport?
Well, I think some of it I just got lucky. I just haven't had too many real crazy injuries. Contrary to a lot of people's belief, I think that I haven't taken a significant amount of damage for the amount of time that I've been in the sport. I do a good job of really taking care of myself, but I think I've kind of had 2 careers. Like you can look at all the losses and kind of use those against me, but if you really look back, I think in my last 25 fights, I'm like 20-4 or 21-4 or something like that. Like a lot of those were really early, so I really just kind of discredit the first part of my career and just really pay attention to the last half.
And Jimmy Cruz are in his division. However, you've had more than 3 times as many fights as him. Do you think your experience will be key to victory in this fight?
Yeah, I do. I think that that's probably one of the bigger pieces. Like, I mean, you can match us up and play the X's and O's and look at it on paper, but I've said this before, that is Jimmy Crute going to take me somewhere in the octagon that I've never been before? Is he going to show me something that I've never seen? Is he going to hit me hard and he's going to rattle me? Is he going to hit me harder than Hector Lombard hit me? Is he going to be more technical and harder to get to than John Jones? Is he, I just don't. I mean, is he going to be a better grappler than Roger Gracie? Like, I don't think so. I don't foresee anywhere that he's going to be different than like I fought probably 10 Jimmy Crutes before, like 10 guys probably exactly like him. But has anyone taken Jimmy Crute to those dark places in the octagon? I don't think so. And that's not his fault. He just hasn't had the opportunity yet. He just hasn't been in the game long enough to be drug into deep water and have someone like me hanging all over his neck and pushing him and not giving a shit about what he gets hit with and walking him down. And Jimmy Crute's probably never fought anyone that's not afraid of him at this point, which again, it's not necessarily his fault. He's just, you can only gain that stuff with experience, and he just doesn't have it yet.
Thanks, Anthony.
That button's kicking your ass. That's all right, man.
Anthony, one more for you. How many people were messaging you and reminding you about the John Jones fight when Aljamain Sterling won the belt the way he did?
How did I go viral and I didn't do anything? It was crazy. It's one of those things that aged really well. And unfortunately for Aljo, I get thrown in his face daily, still to this day. I bet it's happened 5 times today. Anytime Aljo posts, I just get spammed with tags because people are just roasting him, which kind of sucks for Aljo because I think he kind of got, initially I think he got, the bad end of that. I do think that the stuff currently is his fault. He's kind of bringing that on himself. I don't know if he decided to turn heel or what's going on, but yeah, it was nuts for me, man. I couldn't believe how many people just went back. What's crazy to me is at the time, those same people were telling me how stupid I was for not taking the title and how that was my opportunity to make millions of dollars and get the rematch with John Jones as the champion and get the pay-per-view points. And those same people are now giving me credit for not doing it once someone actually does it. So it's so crazy to me how some fighters, they kind of just pay attention to the fans and some of the media and kind of make their decisions off of that. And I've just never been like that. I've just kind of lived my life the way I want to. So this is one of those situations though where like at the time it was really unpopular but it's aged very well for me. Sweet. Thank you very much, guys.
What's up, Al?
Randy,
show in preparation, we all know that Hyder's got that big punching power. So what adjustments have you made? And sort of what are you feeling knowing that you weren't made? And sort of what are you feeling knowing that you weren't the guy that everybody necessarily wanted?
Yeah, I mean,
at the end of the day, just kind of sets in.
You don't get like the lost work from preparing before, right?
Yeah.
Definitely. So can you just tell me about obviously having to pull out of the fight last time? How hard was that on you with everything that was going on there?
It was tough, but I was tested positive for COVID, so I just had to deal with it. 2 weeks off, but my symptoms weren't crazy. I just kind of had like a headache, sore throat, and I was out for 2 weeks, and then I was back to work. So I pretty much just extended my camp.
Yeah, are you excited to be fighting back in front of fans on this card?
Yes, I am.
What do you think that environment's going to be like? I mean, do you think it's just going to, obviously you're used to it for many years doing that, but do you think it's going to be an extra adrenaline dump or anything like that?
Nah, I enjoy that. I actually prefer that than no crowd. I may be one of the few people who actually enjoys that. So I like the crowd. It gives me more energy, just kind of, just better.
What specifically about Cowboy interested you specifically? Or was it just the fact that you didn't want to lose the camp from the first time?
Yeah, I just didn't want to lose the camp. He's a guy that's, he brings it. It's going to be a good fight, high pace fight. Those are the fights that I like. And I think stylistically, we could put on a great show for the fans, you know? So, and I just didn't want to lose the camp. I put in all that work, man. I put in all that work. And then for him to get someone else, you know, short notice, it kind of worked out that person didn't work out. Didn't, you know, I don't know what happened with that, but I'm happy that didn't work out. So they put me right back in there. So.
And a lot of the narrative I'm seeing on social media is Cowboy might be on the chopping block, possibly in his career. You know, he missed weight last time, got finished by a kind of a relatively unknown fighter. Is fighting someone like that more dangerous, knowing that they have a lot to lose in this fight?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, because his back is against the wall, and he's gonna, you know, fight tooth and nail. You know, they say a cornered animal is usually the most dangerous kind of animal. So, yeah, I think he's fighting. He may be. I'm not sure. I can't say it, but it seems to be that's the case. So, you know, either way, I'm sorry. It is what it is. You know what I mean? I got a job to do. I got a ton of respect for the guy. You know, he's a veteran. He's been around for a long time, and I'm a fan. I love the way he fights. You know, but I got to go in there and feed my family. So it is what it is.
And then obviously, since you this good segue for because you're a fan, you've obviously watched him a bunch of times. When you have been watching him in the past, are you seeing openings you know you can take advantage of while you're watching? Obviously, you don't have to give away your game plan, but I'm sure you do see things you can take advantage of.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Back here, Randy.
What's up?
What experience are you going to take in coming in from after you responded for the Nico fight and you came back with one of the best performances of your career? Are you leaning towards that after what happened last time, coming in this time?
Well, that's the plan. Yeah, that's the plan. I mean, obviously, I'm one of those guys. You know, I've never lost 2 in a row in my entire career. You know, I always learn big lessons from my fight, and I take my losses hard. You know what I mean? It is what it is, but I always dust myself off. No matter what, I get back up and I dust myself off, and I come back stronger. So it's the same thing here. You know, I've learned from it. I've made the mistakes, you know, and there were some personal things that I had to take away and things that happened beyond that I can't really just come out and talk to the media and the people. It is what it is. It's fight. It's the fight game. I had to take that on the chin, and, you know, I'm back. That's it.
On the individual level, how good is it to know that you got that set of white personal stuff that you can be who you are, be rude boy up in the cage and do your thing?
I love that. I love that, man. I'm able to just, like I said, I always say this, right? I always say this leading into the fights back in the day when I just got here and everything. I'm learning on the job. I got here at 6-0, baby, right? And I'm learning, and I had to figure it all out as I'm here. And I'm doing that slowly, and I'm getting there. You know what I mean? So I love the way my progression is going. You know, some of the lessons were hard lessons that I had to learn, and I've learned them, and that's the name of the game. So I feel good that I'm able to be myself. I feel good that I've learned to get my weight control and my weight cut under control. Everything's smooth now. Everything's fluid, and I'm just excited to go put on a show and be me and do what I do.
Of course, the ultimate goal is to get the belt.
Absolutely.
With the belt being decided on Saturday night, does that kind of course, you're a motivated guy, but does that inspire you seeing like, hey, I'm going to be in the ring with one of these dudes in the next year or two?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt, 1,000%. Like I said, I'm always motivated, but that does motivate me even more. It's funny, I was talking to my friend yesterday, and it's one of those things where he was like, man, because I used to always say, I like being on the small card, so it's easier to get a bonus, right? And then that mindset, as I got older and I realized, I'm like, that really doesn't make any sense, right? It's like, I want to be on these big cards. I want to be on the cards with all the eyes, because if I stand out on this card, you know, then it's like, okay, then you're doing something. You stand out on a smaller card. It is, not to take anything away from a smaller card, but I'm saying you stand out on those cards. It's like, okay, that's cool. But you stand out amongst giants, then what does that say about you, right?
And final question for me, where's that come from in that you take chances? Like a lot of people, they don't take chances. Even if they're winning a fight, they're content going to decision. You take chances and put on a show, win or lose. Where does that come from? Because a lot of people, regardless if they're high level or up and coming, they don't take chances in the combat sports, in MMA or boxing for that matter.
Well, I guess that comes back from my training, you know, and I never want to be the guy that, you know, and it has happened. And I take my losses hard, you know, and I've been in positions where it's like, man, fuck, I shouldn't have lost that, man. I shouldn't have lost that. And I didn't do, it's regret, you know, I didn't do, you know, what I know I could do. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of having, you know, oh, I didn't show what I know I could just show, what all my teammates know. You know, I don't want to go back being this guy from where I'm from in the gym and everywhere. Everyone's like, man, high hopes. Oh man, Randy's really good. And then I go to the big show and I stink it up. You know what I'm saying? That's what I don't want. That's my fear. So I want to come out and perform and do what I do. And, you know, I got my peoples behind me, man, watching me back home. I want to inspire, you know, and just continue to show them like, yo, we can do this. So that's it.
This straight off top of the dome. I know this is my final one. Are you inspired off of the events that happened yesterday, just as from a humanity standpoint?
Absolutely. You know, I mean, as you all know, I'm one of those people who advocate for those kind of things and just equality overall for everyone. And I want to spread positivity and all love. So I'm happy it went down the way it went down. But the only real justice would have been, you know, if my man was still here, you know, but it is what it is.
Well, is that a 25 times tested shirt?
Absolutely.
So, all right. Did you get that today?
No, I got this beginning of this camp. You know, I just happened to pack it. There's no hidden meaning. I just happen to have the shirt and I threw it on.
Congratulations. What do you make of who do you think wins the title fight top of the card, your division?
Ooh. I don't know. I truly don't know. I could come out here and break. If you want to hear my breakdown, I'm live on Twitch every Friday and Sunday. If y'all want to come on my Twitch and watch me break down the fights, you know what I mean? So we can talk about it there if you want.
Good plug.
All right, thank you guys.
Eight, Johnson versus Moraga, Seattle, Washington. Masvidal is matched up against tough winner Michael Chiesa at lightweight.
Michael, very complimentary of you. He said that you're a guy that he watched for many years as he was climbing the ranks. You not so complimentary of him. You called him a watered-down version of Royce Gracie. You didn't seem to think like he's on your level. Is that accurate?
It's not that he's not. It just I don't like the way he acted towards a teammate of mine that he fought, and it's the way he carried himself. So it's just whatever to me. You know what I'm saying? I don't like the dude. You know what I'm saying? What? You don't want to be unsportsmanlike? That's cool. You know? Try that with me. You know what I'm saying?
So you're gonna go in there and try to get payback for your buddy?
I'm not gonna try.
You will.
You know what I'm gonna do, man.
This is a very big deal for him, this fight, because he's from this area and he's been dreaming about fighting in Key Arena. Do you like being the kind of enemy going into enemy under? Do you like that? Why?
Color me flattered. I love it, man. I come in here and just do my job, and if I get the boos, I love it. If I get the ahs and oohs, it's cool too. But you know, the boos is a special place in my heart, man.
Why? Why do you like that?
I don't know. I just like the boos, you know, just as much as I like the oohs and ahs, you know. I'd rather actually the boos. So then after the fight, I don't got to worry about like people like taking pictures now, and they're just like, oh, fuck you, you know what I'm saying? Like, all right, whatever.
Throw things at you,
yeah, throwing things.
Spit on you.
Yeah, it's the usual, you know?
Post-fight at UFC on Fox 8 alongside Jorge Masvidal, who just submitted Michael Chiesa with 1 second remaining in the second round. And Jorge, congratulations on a win. Early on, he dropped you. It looked like things might get dicey. How did you regroup?
That just pissed me off, man. I was so mad when I realized what happened when I was on my butt on the single leg. I was like, oh man, you're in for a world of trouble if I get out of here. And I was just saying to myself, if he doesn't put me to sleep right here, right now, I'm gonna get him. And I got him.
What does this do for Jorge Masvidal? Where does this put you in the division?
Hopefully it puts me somewhere in the division, man. Give me some top 5 guys. These guys are overrated, and I'm here to bring the truth to the light, you know what I'm saying?
Who's overrated?
All of them.
However, Masvidal would suffer his first UFC defeat after being out-wrestled in a decision loss to top prospect Rustam Khabilov at UFC Fight Night 31, Kennedy vs. Natal. April 19th, 2014, UFC on Fox 11 for Doom vs. Brown, Orlando, Florida. Masvidal is matched up against durable wrestler Pat Healy. Jorge Masvidal wins by unanimous decision.
I got to give a big shout out to my wrestling coach, Cami Barsini, that every day is just pushing me. And I got great sparring partners, Nathan Coy and Kobe Covington. They're both from Oregon. They both wrestle for the University of Oregon, and those guys kick my ass every day. So me getting wrestled up against the fence is just a part of the job. It's just, I was happy to be there. I could feel them wearing out. And I know my corner was screaming for me to get out of the cage, but I could feel him getting weaker as the exchanges were happening, you know.
Gamebred would follow this with a decision victory over Darren Cruikshank at UFC on Fox 12, Lawler versus Brown. And at UFC 178, Johnson versus Carriazo, Masvidal would defeat James Krause by decision to extend his win streak to 3.
I want an In-N-Out burger right now. Then I'm gonna go hit up a buffet.
Crazy night on Saturday.
Man, this is exciting. It's their first fight back with fans and everything, so the energy is going to be wild. You know, it's going to be off the charts. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
Is that something you have to prepare yourself for, like in a little different way? You might get a different kind of adrenaline dump walking to the cage, maybe compared to the last one?
Not at all. I'm a fighter. I look forward to this. We look forward to the hype. We love the fans. Without the fans, it was kind of We still love the fight, but with the fans there and every hit, you hear the roar and everything, the feet start stomping. No other feeling like it.
What do you just make of this matchup here?
It's a good matchup for me. He's linky. I fought linky before. He got good jiu-jitsu. I fought people with good jiu-jitsu before. He's tough. I like that. He's going to stand and bang, and then we're going to see where it goes from there. I'm looking for the knockout, so going there for the finish.
Yeah, what do you have to, when you mentioned, fighting a lanky opponent, does that make camp a little bit trickier just in terms of, maybe finding the right people to work with and prepare for that?
No, actually, most of the people I've trained with are tall and lanky, so it's actually harder for me to find smaller people. So this is actually a plus.
Perfect. So very comfortable with that type of fight.
Very comfortable.
Awesome.
What did you make of Kevin Holland said Brendan Allen was a better fighter than both Vettori and Derek Brunson. Do you agree with that statement? Obviously, you haven't fought him yet, but I'm sure you've seen him.
I haven't fought him yet, but no, not at all. Like, Kevin Holland just be talking most of the time, so he just be doing shit to piss people off, so we kind of just leave it at that. I don't pay attention to anybody else's thoughts on any other fighter than myself or my team.
Well, and you obviously, you said you don't pay attention to the other fighters, but what do you make of the state of the division right now? Kind of some fights have fallen out. Robert Whittaker's obviously picked up the big win, but what do you make of the top of the division?
Top division is a whole bunch of dogs up there, and I'm looking to be up there with them. Like I said, it's a whole bunch of dogs. They're not too old, so they're going to be around for a little while. So I'm looking up there to get up and play with them.
And then, did you have any health-related issues outside of COVID or anything after your last fight?
My last fight, no. Okay. It was just basically COVID.
Okay. Who do you like in the main event, Usman and Masvidal?
I like Usman. Usman got Masvidal hits hard. He nasty. He's very, very nasty. But I got Usman. Usman has been on a tear.
Yeah, your former opponent Glover Teixeira has been recently booked to challenge Jan Blachowicz for the light heavyweight title. How do you see that contest going?
Glover been on a tear, man. Glover, he a monster. So he's a vet, and he's been there with the best. So Blachowicz gonna have to be on his A game if he's gonna have to win that fight, because Glover got some bricks on his wrist, boy.
And what do you think your best path to victory is against Brendan Allen?
Stay off the ground, truthfully, because he likes to stand and bang, but his specialty is definitely the ground, and he likes to play down there. So stay off the ground and keep my distance and stay in my lane.
Thanks, Carl.
No problem. Good to go.
Kobe Covington, they're both from Oregon. They both wrestle for the University of Oregon, and those guys kick my ass every day. So me getting wrestled up against the fence is just a part of the job. I was happy to be there. I could feel him wearing out. And I know my corner was screaming for me to get out of the cage, but I could feel him getting weaker as the exchanges were happening,
Gamebred would follow this with a decision victory over Darren Cruikshank at UFC on Fox 12, Lawler versus Brown. And at UFC 178, Johnson versus Carriazo, Masvidal would defeat James Krause by decision to extend his win streak to 3.
I'm going to In-N-Out burger right now. Then I'm going to go hit up a buffet, but In-N-Out is the first thing I'm going to go do right now.
What's your burger you get there?
I got to get the biggest one, the double.
4x4.
Yeah, 4x4. Yeah. Whatever I get my hands on, the biggest burger. I already got the food coming. I got like 3 number 1s coming with a milkshake. I'm gonna be like at 200 for the night. So.
April 4th, UFC Fight Night 63, Mendez versus Lamas, Fairfax, Virginia. Masvidal is matched up against top-ranked contender Raging Al Iaquinta. In one of the most controversial decisions of the year, Iaquinta wins a split decision despite receiving 30-27 from one judge. And according to MMADecisions.com, 12 of 14 media members had Masvidal winning the fight, with 6 of them giving every round to Gamebred. More importantly, this would be Masvidal's last fight at 155 pounds. July 12, 2015, The Ultimate Fighter 21 finale, Las Vegas, Nevada. After accumulating a 5-1 record outside of the UFC and 2 consecutive decision victories on the reality show, The Ultimate Fighter, Kamaru Usman makes his official UFC debut against Hader Hassan in the show finale.
Obviously, people were watching. If you watch The Ultimate Fighter, you know that a lot of people on your team did not want you to be the one to represent you guys in the last fight. So how have you processed that? What kind of adjustments have you made, since the show in preparation? We all know that Hader's got that big punching power. So what adjustments have you made? And sort of what are you feeling knowing that you weren't the guy that everybody necessarily wanted?
At the end of the day, just kind of assessing it. Initially, it's a bit hard to take in, but I mean, all through life, my dad's always taught me people are going to doubt you. Some people aren't going to believe in you. It's how you believe in yourself. And I've proven it going out. I believe in myself. And in every stage of my career, whether it's from wrestling to getting to this point, I believe in myself and I go out there and I give it my all. And that's brought me this far. And as far as punching power, damn near everybody has punching power. If you look at the welterweight division, everybody has punching power. That means absolutely nothing. I've been hit before. In our sparring session and practice, each and every one is a pay-per-view event. So that's gonna mean nothing to me. I'm gonna go out there and implement my game and do what I do. And break is not a word he should ever associate with me because that's not something I do. I'm a wrestler at heart, 100% wrestler, and I do the breaking.
Usman defeats Hassan by arm triangle choke early in round 2.
My thought process was to go out there and just do what I do and focus on the fight. I wasn't worried about the contract or the win or the money or things like that. That was just an added bonus. If I went out there and performed the way that I'm capable of performing, I knew everything else would follow suit. And so, that was just my main focus, was to go out there and do what I do best.
That said, getting the confirmation that you're in the UFC officially, was that a huge moment for you?
Yeah, that definitely feels better. Feels good.
Give me a grade for this season of The Ultimate Fighter. Dana White told me afterwards he's done doing team versus team. Are you surprised by that? And also give me that grade.
Not surprised. I think that there was high hopes for this season because there was that great rivalry between the two teams, but it just seemed a little flat. And I got to be honest, I really didn't watch a good portion of the season. I kind of gave up.
How dare you?
Kind of gave up on it a little bit, and I caught up, with it again at the end, and there were some good fights at the end. But yeah, I don't know. There just wasn't really a big buzz, and I think it was one of the least successful in terms of ratings, seasons ever. So I don't know. I think that when we look back, though, I think that Usman is a guy that I think one of the guys that we'll look at and say, hey, this season at least produced someone who could be very good. And he didn't have the greatest run on the show, but I think that he is a legitimate prospect at 170. His wrestling is excellent, is fantastic. His transition wrestling that he showed tonight was great. And he's developed some striking. I was talking to Rumble Johnson about him. He said that
how do you feel about
he's really doing a nice job on his striking too. So I think that at least we can.
Where do you think you kind of stand right now?
It's a little strange. Every fight I've had has been some kind of like weird thing, Like I've had great finishes, but then I've had a controversial wins too and losses. So I'm ready to just go put stamps on every fight. I think I said it before. I'm fighting for the finish now. I'm not fighting just to knock people out and knock them down. I'm not fighting to knock them completely out and finish the fight. So I think I'm trying to make more statements like that going forward.
What's kind of the change in mindset? Did something happen? Was it just the result of the last fight that made that click for you?
Yeah, it was the result of the last fight, man. I'm trying to stay composed, you know what I mean? But it really opened up a lot of things in my mind. But I realized that I'm trying to go through this rule thing of keeping this a competition. Okay, this happens and I win. But now I was like, no, this is a fight. I got to fight and make sure I win. And that's a whole shift. Everything changes now. So I think that's going to be reflected in this performance. Yeah. Do
you think Stefan's a good opponent to bring that out of you, or do you think it doesn't even matter? You're going to do that against any opponent?
I can't let it matter, because if I allow the opponent to bring it out of me, then it's going to be spotty. It has to be no matter what, no matter who, always going to be on. Yeah.
Do you think you're going to get an extra boost on Saturday with the fans in there behind you?
100%. You know, because the fans not only do they make like a great atmosphere for the fight, but they let you know when you're doing things right. You know, like you hit somebody a couple times, and you hear, oh, you're like, okay, I'm doing something good. Let me keep doing this for a while. You know, so like that's gonna be a great help also.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
All right, cool.
Over here, other side.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Pretty good.
What do you make of Stefan's skill set? He obviously hasn't fought since his USADA issues. Do you watch tape? And if you do, like anything about him impress you?
Oh yeah, I watched a lot of tape. Impressive. I like fighting guys like this because these are the kind of guys that I've been training to fight like my whole career. Because I started out as a striker, and then people try to take me down all the time. So that's one thing. But what makes him extra special is that his striking is kind of like a karate stylish. You know, it's kind of like it's not the standard of boxing. And these are the people that I excel at fighting the most because that's kind of like my background. You know, and it reminds me of sparring in the gym when I was like 16, 17. You know, like this kind of like weird jumpy movements and stuff like that. That's me all day. So I'm very excited to compete in this one.
What do you mean when you say you've been training for like a specific fighter like that? Just his skill set or like wrestling wise?
It's kind of like somebody who strikes and then goes for the takedown. You know, it's like that's been like the bane of the existence of many strikers throughout the years. You know, somebody who's not scared to strike with you, but then will take you down in the middle of a confrontation in the middle of an exchange. You know, so that's the kind of guy I've always been training for. So he's one of those guys.
Were you aware of him before you got the fight offer?
No, I didn't hear him before, but I watched a lot of tape on him.
And I don't want not to harp on your last performance, but obviously that was your first knockout loss too. Is getting past that obviously? What's it like mentally coming off of your first? Because you've lost before, but that was obviously your first stoppage loss. So mentally, what's the big difference?
I mean, it's hard because when I don't want to lose ever again. But when I do, I get really upset. So this particular one made me even more so because I felt betrayed almost. It was like by myself. It was like I felt like there was nothing I could do to bring it back. I felt as though I should have been allowed to continue. All these things in my mind. When I get beat up, like God forbid. But when I do, I don't care. I'm like, yeah, man, that guy beat me up, man. That's whatever. That's just what happens. But when there's a doubt in there, that's when you can't sleep at night when you're tossing and turning. And what if this? What if that? That's when people come and tell you stories about, yeah, I was watching the fight and you should have did this, and this, and this. And they tell me all the things I should have did. And I can't say no because I didn't win. So this particular fight going back in, I'm very interested in seeing how I feel when I hear the sounds in the cage. It's one thing to spar and train, but another thing when you see the person cross and you hear the referee and you hear the footsteps in the cage, that makes a whole different story. And I want to see what my feeling's going to be. But no matter what I feel, I'm going to perform. So that's the most important thing.
And finally, who do you like in the main event between Usman and Masvidal?
I'm going for Masvidal. I really want to see him win because he's been fighting for a long time. And I love to see a guy who's been fighting so long, get a championship and put that exclamation point in his career, not be just a contender, but be a champion as well. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him win. Cool. Oh, yeah, he doing?
So you talk about watching a lot of tape. Some fighters, they're split on that. Some watch a lot. Some say they leave it to the coaches. Not specifically just Stefan, but when you're watching tape, what kind of tendencies are you looking for in opponents?
Oh, I mean, it's nothing fancy. Just like I can knock the person out here, 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 and here. That's how I look at it. Because my fight is pretty straightforward. Like I'm trying to knock the person out all the time. That's like just what I'm setting up. So I'm looking for opportunities to do that. And it doesn't mean the person's not good. Everybody has opportunities, but I like to hone in on those and then structure my game plan around that so that I can perform freely. Because if I don't think about that and I just say, don't go for it, just go out there and fight and see what comes to you, I'm going to be thinking about it all the time during the fight. It's just how I am. So in the past, I've tried to get away from it, but now I am fully embracing exactly who I am inside the cage. So I'm going for it no matter what.
And just a quick note, is there a limit to how far you go back in terms of watching film? Like, are some fights just, that's too old, don't even worry about it?
Oh, no, I watch all of it because there's certain intrinsic things about a person and about their style that will last no matter what throughout their career. And it's not about tendency, just like, oh, he drops his hand when he does this. It's about mindset, about facial expressions, about how they feel, how they perform. When they win, when they're winning, I should say, how do they how do they coordinate themselves? When they're losing, how do they behave? You know, like when they're facing adversity, you know, all these things make a difference, and you can watch it escalate through the years. And actually, it's just kind of fun. You know, it's just kind of fun to sit back and watch people fight, knowing that you're gonna fight this guy. And it excites me to know that somebody's doing that for me too. You know, makes it really good.
Thank you.
Dwight, right in front. You come from one of the highest profile gyms in MMA, in AKA. How does the skill level of your training partners prepare you for this fight?
Oh, well, this is so I'm at Alliance now though, like in San Diego. But I did train at AKA for like 7 years, so you know that experience. And I train Alliance too because I got Jeremy there, and I have you know like Dom and all these guys there too. It makes a big difference. I was actually just talking about this recently. Like when you're coming up and you're training with the best guys, you don't think you're that good because you're getting beat up every single day. You know, every day is a bad day. So you don't realize until you go somewhere else, like you go fight and you win. But when you go to your friend's gym, you know, you visit back home and you stop at your friend's gym, like, oh, this is pretty easy. Like, you know, I haven't been training recently, but I've been doing pretty good. It's because you're always at a 10. Like you've been at a 10 for like, you know, man, for years. And then you go on vacation and you're like at a 7. You know what I mean? And even your 7 is higher than other people's. So I think it definitely makes you a better fighter, having stronger training partners. And you know, at Alliance, I got Jeremy Stevens who's pushing me all the time, and Miles Jury and all these guys, Dom, to keep me from being lazy. Make sure I'm always on point. You know?
And last one from me. What does your path to victory look like against Stefan?
It's a straight line, knock him out, and then keep moving. You know, I'm trying to make it as quick as possible.
Thanks, Dwight.
Thank you. Oh, cool. All right, let's go.
Very high profile division, and some of the stuff that he said, I mean, he called out Matt Brown. Not a lot of guys call out Matt Brown, and he said in the press conference tonight that he was a little bit overweight because he had some In-N-Out burger. You know, this guy has a personality that can really make him into a star. He's so honest. He has no filter. He told Sean and I the other day at media day that he had a couple grand on the McGregor fight and the Robbie Lawler fight, and he ended up winning. This is before the fights, and he ended up winning. So he won the bonus tonight, and he won his bets on McGregor and Lawler. So big win for Masvidal. I think that's a guy that can be a star, man. I think he's so honest. He's got a great personality, and at welterweight he may have more finishing power. He may be even more exciting. So I think look for him in the future to do big things.
Masvidal would then be rewarded with his first UFC main event against Ben Henderson in Seoul, South Korea. Masvidal would lose an extremely competitive split decision to the former lightweight champion. The bad luck would continue at UFC Fight Night 88, Almeida vs. Garbrandt, where Gamebred would lose yet another split decision against top welterweight contender Lorenz Larkin. December 19th, 2015, UFC on Fox 17, Dos Anjos vs. Cowboy 2, Orlando, Florida. Usman returns to the cage to face rising UK prospect Leon Edwards. Kamaru Usman wins by decision.
I've said it, I've said it to myself countless times, day in and day out, and I'm gonna say it to everyone, before I'm said and done, I will be king of this division one day. And, unfortunately, my performance tonight didn't show it, but when I come back in here next time, it'll be way better, way more dominant, and you can count on seeing finishes from me because one day I will be king of this division.
July 23rd, 2016, UFC on Fox 20, Holm vs. Shevchenko, Chicago, Illinois. Kamaru Usman is back in the cage against Russian fighter Alexander Yakovlev. Usman defeats Yakovlev by decision and climbs to 8-1 as a professional.
I wanted to go out there and really be exciting and get that finish on my feet, but being exciting, you go out there and you get clipped and you lose the fight, you go home with one check. And so, I want to be exciting, but I come to win every single time. And so winning is the most important thing. If you're losing, you can be the most exciting guy in the world. If you're losing, you're not going to stick around for very much longer. I can keep winning all the way to the bank, and I'm going to keep winning and racking up those checks. And those finishes will come.
Usman would follow that victory up with another decision victory over Brazilian brawler Warley Alves at UFC Fight Night 100, Bader vs. Nogueira 2 in Sao Paulo.
I have stand-up, but when you could just dominate guys by not taking any damage, isn't that what we want to do? You want to take a guy down and beat him up and not take any damage. And so when you're capable of doing that and no one was able to stop me from doing that, I kept doing that. But that doesn't mean I don't have stand-up. I have very, very good stand-up, which I showed in my last fight. At the end of the day, it's I'm not gonna be fake. I'm not a fake person who's gonna create something just for the cameras. If the promotion is willing to invest and look deep enough into me, they will see that definitely I'm someone who's marketable. I come from humble beginnings. I was a kid from the streets of Nigeria, to where now I'm living a dream that, there's millions of kids that are back home in Nigeria, in Cameroon, or all the African countries, never dream of, we wake up hoping we can get fresh water, walk 10 miles to go get fresh water. You never dream that you're gonna be in a country like this, on a stage like this. And so that's something that me and, a friend of mine, Francis, are doing. We're inspiring the masses all over the continent.
July 30th, 2016, UFC 201, Lawler versus Woodley, Atlanta, Georgia. Riding a 2-fight losing streak for the first time in his career, Masvidal is booked against veteran striker Ross Pearson. Masvidal wins by decision.
Are you happy with the result? Obviously, you get the W, but did you sort of feel like you needed something emphatic, a finish, something to tell people that...
I definitely needed a finish.
Yeah.
I wanted to finish. I didn't get it. Ross is a tough customer, but I'm still improving. I'm 31, and I've been in this game for a long time, but I'm still young as far as like miles go. If you see my style, I don't get hit often. I just got a good style for the sport, so I'm just improving more, and there's things I still got to tweak,
So what makes sense next? Obviously, Pearson wasn't your original opponent. What are you thinking?
The winner of Jake Ellenberger, Matt Brown, sounds like a treat for the fans. I know everybody would like to see that fight. I know I want an easy payday, so that'd be a great fight for my ass.
Masvidal would follow up that victory with a TKO over Jake Ellenberger at the Ultimate Fighter 24 finale, Johnson vs. Elliott. January 28th, 2017, UFC on Fox 23, Shevchenko vs. Pena, Denver, Colorado. Now riding a 2-fight win streak at welterweight, Masvidal is set to face fan favorite Cowboy Cerrone.
To me, it's always business. It's never personal, I don't really care for the dude. I don't like him at all. If he dies or becomes a millionaire, it doesn't make me lose sleep. I don't care for him at all, but it's still business to me,
When you see him talking about fighting Damian Maia or calling out Woodley, what does that tell you? Is he looking past you?
Oh, I love it. I hope he's looking past me. I hope he didn't run the extra miles. I hope he just thinks that this is a walk in the park. It's better for me. Easy money campaign.
In a breakthrough performance, Masvidal steamrolls Cerrone and defeats him by KO 1 minute into round 2.
Do you feel like, you're kind of in that spot where, you have to start doing crazy things to try to get, more and more opportunities?
It's not crazy. It's a formula I see Instagram. If you post 5 pics a day with 30 hashtags, you're going to get up to the 100, 200, 300K followers, whatever it is that they consider you to be popular. That's not me, though. My skill is in the gym. I'm in the gym so long I ain't got time for them corny-ass posts. All I got time for is to go to the gym, home, rest. And while I'm here speaking and all the new media's out here, American Top Team, the best gym in the world. Why don't we get mentioned? We got 3 current champions right now. We got guys in the top 10 of every weight division. The greatest fucking team in the world. My boy over here, Gregory Chopling Mutai, KO Zone, what's up? Make sure y'all put that in your publications, man. Please. Thank you.
April 8th, 2017, UFC 210, Cormier vs. Johnson 2, Buffalo, New York. Kamaru Usman returns to face the 18-1 Sean Strickland on the prelims.
Moving along now, here you see Kamaru Usman. He meets Sean Strickland tomorrow night. They call him the Nigerian Nightmare. Fights, of course, out of Boca Raton, Florida. We met him on The Ultimate Fighter when it was the Black Zillions versus American Top Team. And how much has changed since then? Usman weighing in with the Sox. Classic veteran move. 170.2 for the Nigerian Nightmare, 170.2 for the man wearing the socks. Why get those toes cold?
Usman wins by decision.
According to Fight Metric, you're the first welterweight since 2007 to win your first 5 fights in the welterweight division. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. I don't really keep up with a lot of those stats. I just do my job as a fighter, go out there and try to rack up the wins and entertain fans.
Obviously, though, that speaks to your success as of late. Do you feel like now it's time? I mean, you've done a really good job of calling out top dogs. you haven't gotten that big fight just yet. Do you feel like now you will finally get it?
Yeah, you know, as a fighter, you know, and now, you know, I came in as a, you know, I don't do this because there's nothing else for me to do. You know, I do this because I choose to do this. You know, I love the competition. This is another way for me to compete and really show, you know, what I put into it. You know, I chose this, and so I'm putting everything into it. And so, you know, when I came in, of course, I want to be successful. I want to win my fights, you know, but I've started to understand the entertainment aspect of it. You know, these are fans that are paying money to come out there and watch us. And a lot of these fans don't know the intricacy of MMA, don't know the technical aspect to jiu-jitsu or wrestling. You know, a lot of them, you know, kind of want to see a fight. And so you have to entertain, and I'm just starting to understand more and more of that. And so I want to put on a show more and more for them. But I'm not, of course, I'm not going to forget, you know,
I know
my
martial arts
skills
is all
that I
about the
work
journey for you,
on
and
each and
career
every day.
everything. So getting to fight a guy who, you know, beat you very early on, what does that kind of mean to you and kind of this road and this path for you?
Wait, say that again?
Like, I know you're all about the martial arts journey and everything. So getting to fight, rematch a guy in this scenario all these years later, is that like a fun thing for you to kind of see your growth and your development over the years?
Yeah, man. It's business. That's all it is. Listen, fighting is about whoever's left standing, nothing else. There was a moment in my past, he capitalized on it. He had a different route to get to where he is. He became world champ, had a few success. I had a separate route as well. I became the ultimate guy in the Ultimate Fighter. And, you know, it's a story. And somehow we ended up right kind of where we need to be. So it's business.
Is this something you thought would ever happen?
In the back of my head, I knew, you know, at some point I would, you know, fight him. He's a name, I guess. Of course, when I got the word for it, I was like, he's kind of behind me, and I'm trying to look at the whole business aspect of going forward. You know, there's guys that I want, because I like to fight people that bring the best out of me. And of course, that's never the case. It's like either, you know, the staff's like, yeah, no, we ain't giving you that fight. And I was like, all right, and what do you got? Well, we got this guy. And I was like, oh, shit. So you got to make a statement when you go out there. So it's a hit and miss. You know, I wanted Till for a while. I wanted to beat his ass, but you got to earn him, I guess, you know. But it is what it is, man. He's what is he? He's my age, and, you know, I'm not going to look at his last performance and just use that. I know his threat. He knows mine, and it's just an opportunity for both of us.
When it got delayed last time, was this just kind of like, again, all good? Are you just used to the stuff by now? It probably just rolls right off your shoulder.
Man, what a lot of people don't know is if I can even go back to last year, which to me, this is even more of a story. You know, with the pandemic and everything, I was in Dallas for a while, you know, just training because, you know, Coach Safe was like, all right, I want you to stay out here, stay active. I lived in Vegas, so my house is in Vegas. I had to go to Dallas. I'm paying over there in Vegas. I'm paying over here in Dallas. You know, I remember at one point I had to dip into savings. I'm like, I don't want to stop that momentum. So I had to stay in Dallas, Airbnb, I rent cars and all that stuff. And I'm like, what am I doing? And then with the fights getting canceled back to back, it was a cluster, man. I can't tell you how unmotivating it was to be training, not knowing what's going to happen. The fights are pulling out. And then there's financial part where I'm paying for that and I'm paying for this. And of course, everyone is just going out of their mind because, you know, it's a pandemic or whatever. But the genius thing I did, I didn't quit. And of course, having the right people like my coach, I called him. I remember having a broke down moment. I was like, hey, man, I can't do this. I'm checking out. And he's like, son, you're going to look back at this and you're going to laugh and you're going to be glad you didn't quit. So obviously you can't. So with the right people around me, my strength conditioning coach, we had to hide to train because the cops are like, you got to stay home and all that bullshit. So we locked the gym lights off and trained in the dark and all that stuff. And during those times, man, it was a motivator. You know, he built me. I went to a dark place, sat down with some demons, and got to know him. But it's growing, man. And unfortunately, you know, a lot of the media don't see that part. Which again, it's not for them to see. It kind of sucks that most of the media focus on what they need to see, which is the dramatic side of it, because it sells, and I get it. But every one of these fighters out here, man, they're fighting for something. I know I'm fighting for my life when I go out there, you know. I'm one of the veterans. So what that means is there's a lot of up-and-comers coming, a lot of new blood. And the vets, man, they better keep their shit together or else it might be time. So, yeah, I'm fighting for my life when I go out there. You know, he has a taste for it. He had a taste for the strap. I'm trying to get a taste too. That's what it's all about. We're lions in a room filled with lions, and we're all just chasing that gazelle. Right now, Izzy got that gazelle, and we're all chasing that motherfucker. That's it. It's business.
And we've talked many times about how that Izzy fight is the dream fight for you. Seeing him lose for the first time, I know that's probably not the style in which you would think of beating him the way Jan did, but did that take anything away from that fight for you? You know, now you can't be the first guy to beat him.
Yeah, right. He didn't really lose. He just ran out of time. But whatever. The game is changing, man. You can beat someone up and they can hold you for 5 seconds and they win. It's weird. I don't know who's giving these refs or judges, I want to say judges, lessons. I'm like, what? Who's educating these guys? But I'm not focused on that, man. He took a risk. He went up. I thought he would have fought Jones, but he fought the 205 champ, and he took a risk. And you know, there's reward in risk. And for him, I'm sure it's a learning experience for what he's got to go back and build for his own. Because that's his own story, man. I don't focus on everybody's story. Everybody got their own story. I eventually would love to fight him, but it's more from a competitive standpoint. It has nothing to say, F you, you suck. Do I think he's great? Absolutely. But I'm very competitive. I'm the type of guy, I'll play video games. You'll beat me 1,000 times. I'm like, I just need one, you know? So I just want to go up against that style because I know that style. But to get there, I got to play the game. I got to play the politics. It's like, all right, whoever the UFC needs me to beat, whoever the UFC thinks can beat me, you know, the honor is fading out. And I'm starting to understand that because I'm old school. So it's about business, it's about money, it's about capitalizing on all that. And I get it. Doesn't mean I have to be a part of it accordingly. But at the end of the day, I get to be me. I have my goal. I know what I want. Everyone is different. I'm not here to say, screw you, you suck, you're too short, whatever. Do your thing, make it on your way, but I know what I want, and I know where I got to be. That's it.
And last thing from me, you win this fight, it would be back-to-back wins over two of the greatest middleweight champions in UFC history. Where do you think that puts you in terms of the title picture?
I mean, I don't know where that would put me. I don't even know who's in charge of the ranking system. Who's in charge of the ranking system? Panel? Really? A bunch of people just sit around the room and say you're numbered. Wow, okay. So I don't know how that works. I don't believe in it. I think it's bullshit, but whatever. But I guess it's wherever I'm ranked. I just got my mind fixated on the top guy. If they want to throw me some wolves in the top 5, that's what I exactly want. But, you know, styles make styles. You know, I don't want to go out there with someone hugging me. I want to punch someone in the face. But unfortunately, it's a part of the game. And that's what makes it so interesting because guys are coming out there with great jiu-jitsu skills, great kickboxing, and that's what I love about MMA. I retired from kickboxing to do this. I was undefeated, but I got bored because I'm very creative. And of course, you know, I had some wins and some losses, but I'm still growing, man. I feel like I'm Benjamin Button. I'm going backwards. I'm definitely handsome as fuck, but I'm going backwards.
Thanks, Joe.
Oh, you're right. How big a deal is it to put on a show on Saturday? Or is it just about getting your hand raised, regardless if it's a technical fight or anything like that? Or you just want to get the win, or do you want to get a win and put on a show?
Man, that's a great question. I don't really focus too much on that because to me, I've never fed off the crowd. I've never, and no offense or anything, I just never fed off a bunch of crowd. I know we're modern day gladiators, but I'm not going to go out there and use it. I've never had to. But I guess, you know, from a business standpoint, it's great to have the crowd back and everything, the environment. It's almost like getting out of that norm of wearing a mask. Now we're kind of getting back to this original norm. So I get it, but I don't feed off of it.
And of course, you're a prize fighter. You fight for prize and money. But at least my question, what do you think when you see somebody that's not a trained fighter getting 1.3 pay-per-view buys and making more money than you that's not trained like you?
Man. Thank you for bringing that up. Here's what I really think. At the end of the day, it's a great business move but it's just a disappointment too. You know, some people are selling out. I get it, because I'm looking. I remember watching that or even hearing about it, going, I'm working my ass off, literally dying. This motherfucker just comes out there, says a couple of shit, and I know what he's doing. Let's be honest, the guy sucks. He sucks. He really sucks. And look who's picking. So I get it, you know, from a business standpoint, a YouTube fighter going out there or a YouTube person just going out there, and people are feeding off that, because you have people that hate him and you have people that love him, but you still got to watch him. It's genius. But at the same time, it's like, it humiliates what I call real athletes that really put in the time. And I know guys behind me not even making that much. I know guys out there that aren't making much than the ring card girls.
So if he come knocking on your door, you and Coach Safe's door, wants you to be his next Ben Askren, what do you tell him?
I say, I'm gonna knock you the fuck out and thank you for the opportunity. That's it. Because we all know I would kill him. I would tell him this. I would tell him, bro, I would literally beat you with one hand. You don't deserve my right hand. And I'll do it for free. That's how confident I am.
All right, over here, other side. Were you at Tiger Schulman's your first time you fought Chris?
Oh, yeah, that gym. Yeah, I was there a long time ago. That was years ago. Yeah.
Was there any rivalry in the build-up to that fight? Because I know like the Northeast MMA scene's have some good rivalries between the gyms.
I wasn't too familiar with the rivalry thing. I just knew that at the time where we were at, you know, especially with gyms, there's always going to be that we're better than you, blah, blah, blah. I get it. I was young in the sport, of course, but here's the thing, man. I'm from New York. He's from New York, but he's from Long Island. A lot of New Yorkers, I'm sure I'm going to get trouble for this. We didn't count Long Island as New York. It's like, all right, you're part of the borough, bro. We got you. It's like Long Island, they call it. But I get it. And every time I go to Long Island, I've always had bad experiences. It's like, yo, what's up with these assholes, man? It's like, all right, whatever. But I guess that kind of brought some rivalry or whatever you want to call it. I just remember the night when we went out there. A lot of his guys were just, you know, that macho-ness. I'm like, who are these T-shirt wearing motherfuckers, you know? But whatever. I was young in the sport. I was a little distracted, and he got the best of me that night. But well, I guess we don't like Long Island. I don't know. I don't care now.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And New York is Queens, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Bronx. Not upstate. That shit don't count. That's where the buffalo roams.
And then you gave an interview with my colleague Mike Heck, where you got into pretty detailed about like your inner demons and having, I think it was, you phrased it as you had a conversation with little Uriah, and it seemed to resonate with a lot of viewers. Like they really resonated with that conversation. Did you get any feedback from fans or fighters after that talk?
Yeah, I actually got a lot of messages. Surprisingly, I actually got a bunch of mails too that was sent to Force MMA. Which, you know, I mean, I get a great platform to talk about real stuff, and regardless of, you know, whatever the media wants to use and post, I get to be me. And I look at it this way. There's somebody out there that probably needs some type of message that I'm going to say at that given time. I think 2 or 3 fights ago, my sister almost committed suicide, and the build-up for that fight was probably one of the hardest things I ever went through, because I grew up with my little sister, and she's not little, and I just remember my mom, you know, she kind of found her, and it was just a horrific experience. And it was like maybe a week before the fight, so I couldn't be there. I wanted to, and damn, you just had to get me with this. And it was a tough time, man. And I was just happy that she came out of it, and she's in a really, really, really great place. And I just had to kind of remind her of who she was and how she inspired me. And man, she finished school. You know, she got a bunch of opportunities. She was on the Kelly Clarkson show the other day, and I was just like, man, I'm just so glad you're still here. And, you know, depression is something that a lot of us go through, man, and nobody wants to talk about it. I've been depressed. Last year, I was so depressed. You have no idea, man. I was like, I'm done with this shit. And if you don't have the right people, man, if you can't really even talk about it, it just builds builds to this thing where it takes you to a place and makes you do things you probably would regret. And for me talking about it, and I guess I hit home with a lot of people who are actually going through it, makes me say, wow, it's bigger than I thought. It wasn't just her situation. It's really big. I mean, we mask it so well. Look at Robert Williams, man. Happiest Dude Alive. I was like, wait, that guy was depressed. So you never know, man. You just never know. And as hard as it is to be nice, it's really hard to be nice. You got to try, because you might get up and go to Starbucks and that dude's just having a shit fit of getting your coffee. Like, what's wrong with this motherfucker? I don't know. Maybe he, lost his home and something has affected him for him to lash out that way. So it's important. It's hard, but it's a challenge I think a lot of people should try to do. Just try to be nice, which is to listen, to understand, and not listen to reply, because everyone just always got something to say. Just listen to understand. Everybody's different. Just try to understand. How about that? How about you just shut the fuck up and just listen to understand? We don't always have something to say, and that's the problem. Sorry, I went off a little bit. Got deep.
You had also said that in the past you would respond to people on Twitter being like, "Send me location." You still doing that?
I've toned it down a little bit on the whole send me location. DMX said a beautiful quote. I posted it. He's like, you got to expect people for who they are. Expect a snake to be a snake. Expect a snake to bite you. That's what a snake does. So expect these people to be who they are. Expect the media to be the media, whether it's good or bad, because any media is always going to be exposure. Expect, and if you expect it, then it shouldn't affect you. Obviously it will, because as human beings, we're sensitive, man. If I look at you and be like, man, what the fuck are you writing? This shit is trash. Like, why are you doing this? Yeah, it's going to cause a slight effect because you're putting your work into this. You don't want someone to tell you and look at your work that it's terrible. Hopefully it's like constructive criticism that builds you. And another quote I read the other day too, it's like when we're kids, babies, right? You're like, come on, you can walk, right? Come on, stand up, buddy, you got this. And the whole world is right behind you. Nobody doesn't have to know who you are, but you see a baby trying to get up. It's like, come on, you got this. But it's totally different as an adult. Yeah, you shouldn't do this. Yeah, man, that 9 to 5 is better. You might want to stop. You should quit this career. As adults. So it goes back to the psychological warfare.
You're right, over here. Yep. You're right. You obviously got in the UFC by getting through the Ultimate Fighter, and they just announced the season 29 coming up here. Just curious, what are your thoughts on the Ultimate Fighter continuing to go? Do you like the format? Just remembering your experience on it and everything.
First of all, this guy got some swag. I like this dude. Look at that. You know what that means? It means I took time to prepare myself. That's fucking, I respect you. I think that's so important these days, to take some time to fucking put into yourself. You're the fucking man.
Appreciate it.
And to answer your question, yeah, I saw a little preview. One of my dreams is absolutely teach the Ultimate Fighter. I think that I would be a great asset to that. What Chael did for me in that time, man, it couldn't have been any more remarkable. I think at the given time where I was, I was young, I was hungry, I was homeless. So I bought a one-way ticket going out to Vegas saying, this is it. I didn't even know how I was going to make it back. That's how important it was to me. And over 800 people tried out. I ended up being one of them. And, I did my due. It didn't turn out to the end in results. But, man, that whole time gap was exactly where I needed to be. I was uncomfortable, and I got comfortable with it. I realized at some point it's not called the Ultimate Fighter. I'm sorry, not the Ultimate Friends. It's the Ultimate Fighter, because after that Adam Stella kick, their team was scared of me. My team was scared of me, and you're in a house with nothing else to do, There's no outside activity. I mean, the only outside you got is a yard. You can't go outside and open the gate and take a walk. You got the gym. It's a pressure cooker, and it's just training constantly. There's alcohol. There's all these temptation. There's cameras walking around. It's a clusterfuck. And at maybe the week 4, I got, you know what? Let me zone in on this and take the advantage. And, man, it was such a great experience. I would do it again, to be honest. I think it was a great experience.
You mentioned the Adam Stella head kick right there. Do you think that gets enough appreciation for one of the greatest knockouts ever? A little unappreciated, I think.
You know what? It's funny. I think even the UFC posted this. They said, greatest tough kick ever? Question mark. Like, what the fuck do you think? I think it is. If you're gonna keep posting that and ask, what do you think? But I get it. It's just to have people comment and all that stuff. But hell yeah, it is, man. I mean, I feel like I'm a one-hit wonder with that. I can save a baby out of a fucking burning plane. No one will remember that. They'd be like, yeah, that's cool. But that kick you did, that's better, you know? But hey, it's my signature. I'll take it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Uriah. Best of luck, man.
Thank you.
Hey, Uriah, what would you contribute most to your 3-fight win streak?
Who did I beat? Bevon, right? Bevon Lewis. I forgot the last three. Carlos, Antonio Carlos Jr., Bevon Lewis, and Anderson. So what would I contribute to it? You know, those 3 fights were different. I think the Bevon Lewis fight, I was in, you know, I found my sister that week and she was all messed up. So, you know, I was a little bit out of my head and I got in my head and fucking knocked him out. The Antonio Carlos Jr. fight, you know, he was a friend of mine and it was weird. And I remember making the decision. We were in Sweden in some type of weird underground place. I'm not going to talk about that. But I made a decision with my coach and he was like, I think you should take this guy. And I was like, I'm like fighting my friends, but all right. And the thing is, I didn't know Antonio Carlos Jr. was a world champion. And I had no idea. If I had known, it probably would have fucked with me a little bit, but I didn't know. And, you know, it made it a little easier because we knew each other, but it was just business. And, of course, we're all hugging and stuff. There was a moment we were hugging, like, a couple of days before the fights, and my coach was looking at me like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you hugging this guy every second? I'm like, oh, we're buddies. But Anderson was probably, man, just leading up to that fight, even the night before, I didn't even sleep. I was just like, this is actually happening. This is happening. I remember standing on my buddy's roof looking at this guy. Now I'm actually going to be in front of him. It's a clusterfuck. But, yeah, you know, we went out there. I tried to stick to the game plan as much as I could. The thing a lot of people didn't realize, man, Anderson is tricky. It might have not looked like much, but that dude was doing so much. His range was so perfect. I felt like he was setting me up because every time I was jabbing him, he just moved just at the right distance. I'm like, this mofo is trying to catch me with something. So I had to switch, and then he switched. So that, what you guys saw of nothingness was a lot of shit. And I think by like round 3, you know, I had to kind of mix it up, and round 4 it ended up happening. But, you know, you're only good as your last fight, they say, right? But it's up to that person to realize how good he is. It's not for everyone else who's watching. It's what you can see, but every fight is different, man. Every fight is different. So I take what I can from that, and I just move forward amicably so I can grow. It's all about growth.
And last one from me. What do you think defeating Chris Weidman right after defeating Anderson Silva does for your stock in this division?
Stock? I still have those? Stock. I never thought about the stock thing, but I think it's just, you know, I fought him years ago. I guess it'll look good on my resume. I haven't thought that far ahead, to be honest. I just think that he's in my way to get to where I need to be. I was looking for someone else. They gave me him, so I had to switch my mindset. And yeah, I went over him would, you know, be a little more satisfying because he was the first guy to give me my scar. So, yeah. Thanks, guys.
Versus Masvidal, London, England. Despite riding a 2-fight losing streak, Masvidal is booked against fellow top contender and recent title challenger Darren Till.
My experience though, my fighting style, and my perseverance mixed with the game that I have, that I'm just a dog. I'm not gonna quit. He's never seen nothing like me in his life. I guarantee you. After Saturday, he'll write a book on what he learned from me, you know?
I think of Ben Askren coming over here. He seems to think he's automatically getting the winner of this fight. I know Leon Edwards and Gunnar Nelson also have said they think they're going to get the winner of this fight.
How does it feel to be back?
Yeah, it feels good. It feels good, especially because now he's going to be audience. So he's going to feel good.
Yeah, I mean...
a little bit nervous, but okay.
Yeah, can you just tell us what this break has been like for you? Obviously, a long time.
Yeah, it was a little bit tough. I tried to evolve as much as I could. We train good sparring partners. My teammates helped me a lot. So I think I got 20-30% better than last time.
Can you just speak to everything that happened with the USADA suspension and maybe give your side of the story?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit rough. Maybe I don't know how to say, because I have a tough injury in March that year. I have a very complicated operation. I didn't know if I'm gonna come back ever. I could take a punch or something. So I had some therapy. It was my mistake because I didn't know what it was, and something stayed in my body that shouldn't be, and I don't know. It was my mistake because I wasn't informed. I didn't ask what it was. So when USADA test came back, it was positive to some stuff, but I don't remember. It was some medical name, complicated. So we try to give our best, to explain what happened, but in the end of the day, it was my mistake, so it is what it is.
So obviously, you're saying no intention to cheat or anything
No,
like that.
no. I shouldn't fight at all that year, because it was a little less than 6 months after operation. It was a jaw operation and very complicated. So yeah, I didn't have a plan to fight at all. But when UFC calls, you don't back out.
Understood. As far as this matchup, is this something you like to come back to? I mean, do you think this is going to be a good fight to show your style?
Yeah, I think he's gonna be good. He's a tough opponent. He shoot wild punches, so it's gonna be not a boring fight for sure. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a stoppage.
Great, thank you.
Stefan, over here. Dwight said that he's watched a lot of tape on you, and he thinks you're a type of fighter that he's been training for his whole life. Someone that mixes up his striking into his grappling very well. What do you make of Dwight's skill set on the other side?
He's a little bit unorthodox. He punches like you don't know from what angle it's gonna be. But as long as I'm disciplined with my guard and everything, with my movement, I think I can beat him easily.
And he's coming off his first knockout loss of his career. And he said it kept him up late at night thinking about that often. He's interested to see how he reacts when he fights again. Are you going to look to capitalize on that, maybe see if there's hesitation in his eyes while you fight?
Yeah, of sure. We prepared for the best version of him. I think after my loss, I always try to come even better than I was. So I think it's going to be the same thing for him.
Who do you like in the main event between Usman and Masvidal?
I think Usman. It will be, I think, the same thing as last time. Yeah.
Stefan, right here in the front, what does it mean for you to have the opportunity to represent Serbia on this stage?
I mean, it means everything. I worked for this my whole career, my whole life, and everything.
Stefan back here. Going off of that, there have been two pretty dominant Serbian performances with Alexander Rakic and Uroš. Yeah, in the past 2 months or so. What does it mean to you for Serbia to start making its way onto the scene, and maybe people are looking to Serbia for more professional fighters?
Yeah, it means a lot. I mean, I look at that guys and I want to do the same, So, I think the more is gonna come from us. There is Duško Todorović. Now I will try to go their footsteps. So it means a lot. Thank you.
Based on how he got on against predominantly a striker and Robbie Lawler in his first outing, coming in against you or Till, depending on who the winner is?
For one, we won't even mention no more names on my interview of these guys because we just gave them a whole lot of press, bro. Nobody even knew those bums before you mentioned them right now, And that's something that the media and like the fans, like if you just talk, you know, I mentioned this in a couple of interviews. If I start talking bad about Donald Trump, my president, they're not gonna go to an interview of him and be like, hey, this guy Jorge Masvidal is talking junk about. No, it's not gonna happen, you know? Why it happens in MMA, I don't know, you know? We got number 37 of the world calling me out and number whatever the fuck calling me out. Meanwhile, I'm fighting number 3. You know, and my ranking has dropped because I've been inactive for a while, but I'm fighting the hardest, best fight that I could get out. Why do I care about anybody else? And they constantly get brought up in other interviews, you know. Ben could say and do whatever the fuck he wants. He's a punk. Robbie didn't go to sleep. So I get it. In the moment you get caught up, my hands are up in the air, I won. You see the replay as a man. You see the replay and you see that he has a thumbs up. I never seen somebody sleeping like that. I would say, let's do it again. I'm gonna fuck you up without a doubt, show it to the world. But he's a weasel, he's a punk here already. Before they even brought that up, he said, no, not a chance, not doing it. Why? Why? Because you're not a fucking man, you're a punk and the bitch in you will be brought out. Am I fighting him after this fight? No, because I'm fighting for the title, but I will break his face at some point. I don't know if it'll be in a parking lot, I don't know if it'll be at a gym, I don't know if it'll be in the octagon. But that guy ever gets fresh with me in person, that's right then and right there, you know? Plus, I don't like his corny ass, you know? And I remember said that you brought him up, and all interviewers, stop asking me about Ben and the other dude from England. Don't give a fuck. All interviews, please listen, because the next guy that does is just gonna get shooed away. I don't want to hear about these bums in my interview, you know?
Another big fight for you. Just give us your thoughts on this matchup.
Então, mais uma luta grande aí para você, né? O que você acha do casamento dessa luta?
Poxa, essa luta é muito esperada por muita gente aí, porque essa luta já estava marcada. Ele ficou doente, né, cara, que ele pegou o convite. A me arrumaram outro adversário e, no caso, o cara também passou mal. E, graças a Deus, essa luta foi marcada de novo. E, poxa, tô felizão, vou sair na mão com um cara que todo mundo conhece, é um cara que todo mundo gostaria de estar brigando. E eu vou ter a oportunidade de enfrentar ele realmente agora de novo, né? E dessa vez vai acontecer.
I'm just happy that the fight is finally happening. We had the problems in the last time that we were booked, but this time, fingers crossed, it's going to be a good fight. I have all the respect for him. He is a good opponent. He's a well-known guy, and I'm just praying that everything goes well during the week and the fight happens.
Yeah, just elaborate on that a little more. Obviously, you were supposed to fight him before, so are you happy they put it back together and the work for this training camp and this opponent wasn't lost?
Você ficou feliz de que eles remarcaram a luta e que desse jeito você não perdeu todo o trabalho que você teve no campo se preparando para ele da outra vez?
É, com certeza, mas aí a gente teve um intervalo aí, né, que a gente ficou uns dias parado e voltamos de novo à atividade. Poxa, para essa luta aí, assim que eu fiquei sabendo que eu ia lutar com ele de novo, eu já tava, tipo, pedindo um empresário direto, bota essa briga, e graças a Deus aconteceu. E vocês podem ver que a felicidade está estampada no meu rosto.
Yeah, I'm just really happy that we got the fight. You can see in my face that happiness is stamped right in there. And when the fight came about, I was already asking my manager for the fight, just kept bugging him, and it finally happened the way we expected it.
And this is going to be your 20th UFC fight. Where do you feel you are in your career right now?
Essa vai ser a sua 20ª luta no UFC, né? Onde que você acha que você está na sua carreira nesse momento?
Cara, na minha carreira, tô feliz. Acho que eu tô num lugar que todo mundo quer estar, sabe? Dentro do melhor evento do mundo. Cara, é isso. Eu tô bem pra caramba e não tô ranqueado, sabe? Tô lutando no meio dos melhores do mundo. Então, cara, eu acho que eu tô bem.
I'm really already at a good place in the UFC. Like, I fought a lot. I'm not ranked, but I'm still fighting some of the best in the world. And end of the day, I'm happy. I'm pretty satisfied with where I am. I'm fighting some of the best in the world. I'm where everybody who competes in this sport wants to be. So I can't complain.
What are the goals moving forward? I'm sure you'd like to have 20 more UFC fights, but what do you want to accomplish in the future?
Você tem algum objetivo no futuro próximo, assim, mais 20 lutas no UFC?
Cara, com certeza, assim, eu tenho muitos sonhos ainda para a gente se realizar, mas a gente vai passar por esse serviço primeiro aí, que é sabadão, e da próxima aí a gente vai pedir um adversário aí, a próxima briga aí, se Deus quiser. dessa vez ele aceita o Rob Lawler.
So, just got to get through the work that I have to do on Saturday. But, I'm going to ask once again. I want to fight Robbie Lawler. Let's see if this time around with this win, he's going to take it.
Alex, over here. Randy Brown was in here earlier, and he said he was a big fan of yours. He's watched your whole career. Specifically, he thinks it's going to be a high action-paced fight. So what do you make of Randy Brown's skill set inside the octagon?
O Randy estava aqui antes, né? Fez a coletiva também e ele falou que te acompanha desde do começo da tua carreira no UFC, que te admira muito, gosta muito do estilo de sua luta e ele espera que seja uma luta de alta intensidade a luta inteira. O que você acha dele e do estilo dele?
Cara, ele é ontem quando cheguei aqui no hotel aqui, sim, eu nem tinha visto ele veio direto me cumprimentar, eu tava de costas, ele veio me cumprimentou. Eu acho isso muito bacana, sabe? E ele reconhece minha história, sabe que a gente veio de baixo e a gente continua nessa luta aí. Cara, ele é um adversário, espetacular, que eu já vi várias lutas dele. Ele é um cara que não deixa a desejar, sai na porrada. E é um cara que eu vejo muito, muitas pessoas gostam dele. Eu acho ele também massa, sabe? Mas sabadão a gente vai tampar na mão, fora a parte, amizade, nós estamos juntos.
So when I arrived here in the hotel, I was in line to check in, and he came to me, tapped my shoulder, said hi, so introduced himself, and that was really nice of him. I really like the guy. I love his style. He's really good as well, and I know that whatever happens Saturday, we're gonna go in there, we're gonna beat the crap out of each other and put on a great fight. And afterwards, we can be friends. We can walk, hang out, do something. But overall, you guys can expect a great fight.
We didn't get to talk to you after your last fight on Fight Island. You came in a little overweight. Was that just a miscalculation on your end, or was there anything leading up to that may have caused the weight miss?
Depois da sua última luta na ilha, né, a gente não teve a oportunidade de conversar e você teve um problema com peso naquela luta, né? Foi algum problema por pegar a luta muito em cima da hora, algum erro de cálculo, aconteceu alguma coisa?
Cara, essa luta lá foi feita em cima da hora, aceitei a luta. Normal, como já aceitei várias lutas. Só que assim que eu entrei dando avião, meu filho foi parar no hospital. Assim, eu chegando aqui, minha esposa me retornou e falou que eu podia ser transferido para outra cidade, que o negócio estava sério. Aí já era, acabou a estrutura de um homem todinho. Sou um pai de família, sou um homem como todo mundo é. Mas quando mexe na ferida que é a família da gente, a gente sai de si, né, cara? A gente acaba fazendo coisa que a gente nunca fez. Então acontece, né? Mas peço desculpa a todos aí e não vai acontecer de novo.
Yeah, last time around, I was just about to board the plane, and my wife gave me the news that my kid was pretty sick, had to go to the hospital. And when I got to Ireland, I finally got some news back that they had to transfer him to another city because things were pretty bad. So once that happened, all my mental structure and everything just went down the drain. It was a fight that I took last minute, but that's no news to me. I do that all the time. But, I'm a man like any other man. And once I had that family problem, a problem with my kids, then, my head just wasn't in it anymore.
Is your son okay now?
E seu filho tá bem agora?
Estou sim, graças a Deus, dessa vez estou bem, meus filhos estão bem, estão em casa. E é foda, vocês sabem muito bem quem é pai de família aqui. Se mexer num cacho de uva seu lá na sua casa, você vai ficar sabendo, então fica chateado, né, cara? Então, mexer nos meus filhos não estavam bem, não tava... Depois que eu cheguei aqui, cara, a gente ficou meio aéreo, mas agora eu tô bem, tô focado, pronto pra guerra. E sabadão pode ter certeza, agora esse Cowboy tá lá, firme e forte.
Yeah, everybody's fine now, but you guys know, anybody who's a father, anything happens in your home, you're gonna find out, and things were not ideal last time around, but this time everything is going to be going pretty smoothly, and I'm ready, and come Saturday I'm gonna be at my best.
Alex, to your left over here. You've fought so many great opponents throughout your career. I'm just curious where you would say Randy Brown stacks up with the rest of them.
Você já enfrentou grandes nomes na divisão, né? Ótimos atletas. E onde você acha que o Randy Brown se encaixa nessa lista aí do pessoal que você já enfrentou?
Poxa, ele é um cara que é duro. Ele é um cara duro, sim. Para ele entrar aqui no UFC, aqui estão os melhores do mundo, né, cara? Então, já enfrentei muitos caras duros. E ele é um cara duro pra caramba também. Ele é grande. Vai ser difícil eu encostar nele, né? Por causa da distância. Mas não é impossível. Mas ele se encaixa lá entre os melhores lá, que eu vou botar lá no meu card lá, com mais uma derrota. É isso.
So I've already fought some of the best in the division, and let's be honest, if he's in the UFC and he's doing well here, he is one of the best in the world. There is no question about it. And if he's doing well, I know that it's going to be another great name to add to my record. It's just going to be another big name among so many others in my record.
And just kind of to springboard off of that, do you have anybody specific that you would say has been your toughest opponent so far?
Aproveitando esse papo sobre seus oponentes, né? Tem algum em específico que você consideraria tipo o seu maior oponente até hoje?
Tem, cara. Meu oponente, cara, que foi o que quebrou meu nariz, cara. O Havaiana. Quebrou meu nariz que eu lutei contra ele. O Andes Medeiros. E é um adversário que, poxa, até hoje tá aqui, que ele quebrou meu nariz. Mas tá tranquilo, respeito ele, mas vamos pra próxima.
Yeah, out of everybody, I think the one that is, it's the toughest one for me. It was Medeiros, the Hawaiian kid, because, he broke my nose. It was a really tough fight. He's still a little bit stuck in my throat, but hopefully I can get to fight him again and get that sorted out.
Yeah, we'd love to see that rematch. And last thing for me, Alex, great career, fought everybody, like I said. What would you say has been kind of, if you could pinpoint the biggest learning experience throughout your journey so far?
Como a gente falou, né, você tem uma baita carreira, né? Qual que você acha que foi o maior aprendizado que você teve nesse seu período aqui dentro do UFC?
Cara, depois que eu entrei no UFC, a gente aprende muita coisa, né, cara? Vai te atrapalhar, vai se traduzir agora, bicho. Como a gente aprende com nossos erros, né? Dinheiro, falsas amizades, ilusões, tá ligado? Falsos amigos. Aprendi muita coisa. E hoje em dia eu sou um cara totalmente diferente. Hoje em dia eu posso falar que eu sou um atleta de ponta, que eu dou muito valor ao meu trabalho, mais ainda, e focado na minha missão.
So once I got to the UFC, I started seeing a lot of things happen. With a little time in here, you start to understand a little bit better about money, about bad friendships, about people trying to take advantage of you. People selling you dreams that are not there to be achieved. And end of the day, I know that I'm the best version of myself today. I learned a lot throughout this whole process. And, only better things are going to come from here.
Best of luck, Alex.
Good. Thank you. Bye-bye.
19, UFC 239, Jones versus Santos, Las Vegas, Nevada. Gamebred is set to face the undefeated Ben Askren.
What round and how are you going to do it?
We're gonna do it painfully and brutally. That's for sure. I don't like this dude, as everybody can know. So it's gonna be brutal, man. It's gonna be painful, man. I don't know what round yet, but it's gonna be painful.
Will this be Darren Till Part 2? Or how are you preparing for this, brother?
Nah, this is different, man. Darren Till woke up eventually. I don't know if Buddy's gonna wake up.
Damn, you're the man, Jorge. You're the man. You got this, brother.
You know this guy's gonna try to grab you and hug you the whole fight, right?
He's gonna try to put his face in my crotch, yes.
So what I'm wondering is, are you feeling a little knee on the way in? Are we gonna go with an uppercut? Are we gonna go with a flying knee? What are you feeling?
We got something that's not usually listed on the menu when you pull up to the drive-thru. It's gonna be it's on the special files for his ass, man. He's gonna find out July 6th though.
I've never in all my pro fights had more fans come up to me and request the ending of somebody. Never, ever, never. It's always like, yeah, fuck that guy. But I've never had specific demands like, can you sink in his eye orbital so he can no longer see from that side? And I've jotted down all of them, and I've said, I'm putting it out in the universe. I'm gonna try to make your wishes come true. You know? So I've never had so much animosity towards a fighter that I've ever fought in my whole fucking career, man. From the fans, you know? I mean, even yesterday when I was done at the open workouts, some lady had drawn a picture of him, showed it to me, threw it on the floor, started stepping on him. This is what I want you to do to his face. I was like, yeah, I swear my coaches were there. Maybe the UFC and better picked it up, you know, but it was pretty fucking entertaining, man. He's a master, I'll tell you what, he's a master of stuffing his face in men's crotches. Grandmaster. That, I can't take that away from him. I've never seen nobody do that at that level.
How do you incorporate that into your training?
It's weird, man, because I'm not into dudes having their face in my crotch, bro. It's not something I've grown to like, you know, so there's a lot of defenses for that, you know, and I've been working on each and every one of them.
In quite possibly the most spectacular knockout in UFC history, Masvidal removes Askren from consciousness with a flying knee at 5 seconds in the very first round.
I saw some criticism. People say the punches weren't really necessary. Maybe
They were super necessary.
Why were they necessary?
What do you mean, why were they not necessary?
Because he was already knocked out at that point.
But the referee hadn't pulled me off. And my job is to hit somebody till the referee pulls me off. So to those people, I would say maybe don't watch MMA, go back to soccer.
I saw some other criticisms perhaps of your celebration afterwards. Any regrets at the celebration or your behavior in the cage afterwards?
Man, there's not too many people that I've disliked. I have over 50 pro fights, and he's one of them, you know. He talked about my manhood, talked about my culture, my ethnicity. Where do we draw? Why do certain people get to do stuff? You online, so you can do anything. Everything is cool before a fight. You're allowed to do and say whatever you want. Like other fighters are not doing, talking about people's religions, wife, even kids. That's cool. But after a fight, I'm not allowed to showboat and rub it in your face. So you and guys like you could see it and be like, maybe I don't talk so much shit because when I cross one of these real motherfuckers, they're gonna make me pay for it, man. They're gonna embarrass the shit out of me. And it's not over for Ben either. He still has to deal with me. If I see him at Whole Foods, I'm gonna still slap that dude up because I don't like him. He got the head buster with no longer with us clavicle. He got all types of shit. Then he got those punches to the face, you know, because I thought he was gonna get up.
That maybe one day you guys could drop the beef, or do you think is this a permanent thing?
Oh no, it's not beef, because if it was beef, it'd be different. I'd be at the front of his house waiting for him right now. It's not beef. This is just, I don't like my coworker, we could say, but this is not beef, you know. This is just some idiot I don't like, you know. But my job, thank God, you guys gotta be jealous of this for me. I get to punch the coworkers I don't like in the face.
November 2nd, 2019. UFC 244, Masvidal versus Diaz, New York, New York. The baddest motherfucker in the game, Nathan Diaz, puts a personal title on the line against Jorge Gamebred Masvidal as the main event at Madison Square Garden.
Can you just talk about preparing to this fight and how your mental state differs as opposed to fighting a big trash talker like Askren or McGregor?
Yeah, I heard him. I mean, when people talk shit, it is motivating because there's some dudes you're not gonna lose to. And Askren is that dude I'm not losing on any universe to, you know. So the shit talking does help. Man, it just helps when the guy on the other side that you're fighting wants to hurt you and you know it. That's enough motivation for me right there.
Yeah, it's just like I train for every fight. There's really not a lot of trash going on and a lot of fights I'm in anyway, so it's just like normal. I'm just glad to have a worthy opponent and a worthy venue to be in.
So, you know, when Nate did his interview that night, he basically said, this is for the baddest motherfucker in the game. So, he was defending the baddest motherfucker in the game. So, you know, this is one of those fights that after that interview, you know, it started to build a life of its own through the fans and the media. And we didn't seriously start talking about this fight till maybe a couple weeks later in a matchmaking meeting. And I said to my guys, listen, tell me if I'm crazy, but what do you think about us actually having a baddest motherfucker in the game belt? and my guys loved it, and we started talking about it. So I went in with the design team at UFC.
Right.
We started to design it, and I will physically have that belt when I come back to New York. It'll be ready.
Oh, it definitely has a special place. Not because it's an MSG, not just because the BMF title, not because so many other surrounding factors make this event one of the biggest events of UFC history. It's just because the guy that I'm fighting. If I was fighting him in the parking lot, if I was fighting him in his backyard, man, to me, it's always the fighter, the guy that I got to cross that makes my moment. It's like, yes, and it's not from a disrespectful place.
Wish granted, right? Big fight here, top name in the light heavyweight division. Is this exactly what you're hoping for the next step in your career?
Yeah, for sure. This is the fight that I asked for. Even before I got the Johnny Walker fight, I asked the matchmakers for Anthony Smith. So to be given this opportunity, to take this opportunity, I should say, is it's a big step, but it's a small step in the scheme of things.
Was there a particular reason why you wanted Anthony so badly?
Because I feel like a lot of those top guys don't want to fight an up-and-comer. But me and Anthony had a back and forth on social media. It was very respectful. But to me, that showed that he was willing to fight an up-and-comer like myself. And it sort of, to me, it was the highest ranked guy that I thought would fight me and the biggest challenge of person that I thought would fight me.
Was that the toughest part of being a up-and-comer with a lot of talent and a lot of promise, is getting these big name opportunities? Like Anthony was in here earlier and he said, sometimes you have to you're climbing or you're defending your spot, and right now he feels like he has to defend a spot against you.
Yeah, I don't really care what he feels like he has to do. I'm just focus on what I have to do, and it's tough to sort of climb up the rankings, but at the same time, if you're determined and you do the right things, you're going to get there. So these guys sit back and complain that they don't get opportunities and stuff. Well, make one.
Is this the perfect moment for you, right? Like massive card, 3 title fights, first one back in front of a full crowd and everything. Do you feel like this is going to be your breakthrough moment in your career?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a breakthrough moment of one of many, I hope. And I'm not thinking too much about the moment. I've got a job to do. I've got to fight Anthony Smith. It's going to be a hell of a challenge. But I'm not thinking about the moment. The moment, I'll enjoy that after I get the job done. I'm here for business and business only.
What do you think this fight looks like?
I'm mauling until I put him away.
Thank you.
Jimmy, back here, far right. How much does that have the mindset, the fact that you're young in this game, so you haven't really experienced much, you're just kind of freestyling with it? How much do you have to be free? He has the pressure on him. You don't have the pressure on you coming Saturday night.
I feel like I think there's pressure on both of us, to be honest. There's a lot of high hopes for me. I'm very well aware of that, but I'm not thinking about it. I'm thinking about fighting Anthony Smith. As far as freestyling my career, I feel like I did that for my first 3 UFC fights, and then after my loss to Misha Serkinov is when everything really tightened up, and I started coming to fights with a plan and understanding of what I have to do. So I don't feel like I'm winging it anymore. I feel like everything's set in stone, and I know exactly what I have to do.
What's something that you added to your game since the last time we saw you? You come off 2 4 horns a night, so it's kind of hard to top that.
Yeah, it is, and it's when you start thinking about performance of the nights and stuff. That's when you put too much pressure on yourself. The 2 times that I didn't think about a performance of the night, I ended up going out there and getting them. So for me, it's just about thinking about the game plan. The game plan, I can't not be exciting. I don't know. I've never been in a boring fight in my life, so I don't have to worry about that sort of stuff. I just go out there and I fight. I'm a forward pressure sort of guy. People love it, so that's all I need to. I need to just think about what I've got to do, and all that other stuff will come. If the performance of the night bonus and stuff is supposed to be there, I'll get it. If it's not, I won't.
What's your take when he's talking about he's going to take you into deep waters, that you've never been in deep waters, and that he's eager to be your leader going to deep waters in the UFC octagon?
Yeah, we'll see about that. It's one thing. If you look at my career and look at my UFC career, it's probably I can understand why he thinks that, but he doesn't understand what I've gone through to get here, and the mountains that I've had to climb to get to where I am today. So I'm not some young bull that he thinks I am. I've been around I've been around this game for a very long time, and I understand a lot of things that he thinks I don't.
Kind of pick up back off of Mike for my final question. So Saturday night be your moment to kind of let people know I'm here. This is my division with all the upper tier guys being in their 30s. You're only 25. You look at this your division in the future, and you're gonna send a statement on Saturday night.
Am I the young? I think I'm the youngest in the division, so I'm gonna be here for as long as I want to be here, and I'm gonna just continue doing what I'm doing. I don't give a fuck about these other guys. Honestly, I just care about my path and my fights ahead of me. I don't care about what else. I don't even watch fucking fights anymore. I just do what I'm doing. So that's it.
Hey, Jimmy over here, right straight across. You guys are opening the pay-per-view portion. Does the placement of your fight on the card mean anything to you? That you guys are gonna be pretty exciting spot to be in.
Yeah, it is exciting for me, but at the same time, I feel like they put us there because they know it's going to be a good opener. They know it's going to get the crowd hype for the rest of the main card. So I feel like it's a strategic place that they've put us on the UFC's behalf.
When you watch those fights like him against Glover and Rakic, how much do you, I guess, take note of that, and how much do you actually just compare? Like, I'm a different fighter, so I can't necessarily do this and that exactly.
I think it's a bit of both. I leave it up to my coach Sam over there. He studies the film. He's done more study of Anthony Smith than I ever have in my life. So for this prep, and he just feeds me the information. I watched it a few times, but as you said, I'm not Glover Teixeira. I'm not Alexander Rakic. I'm Jimmy Crute. So I just got to mold my game plan into my strengths and capitalize on little openings I see from him, but more importantly, the things I'm good at.
Thank you.
Jimmy, Anthony was in here earlier, and he was very complimentary of you, but he said he's faced Roger Gracie, he's fought in Hector Lombard. He doesn't really see anything that you do.
Hector Lombard, the little roid muncher.
Right. That he doesn't see anything that you do better than what he's already faced in like his 40+ fights. So what do you make of Anthony's skill set in there? If you do have any thoughts?
In terms of his skill set, so he reckons he hasn't. He's seen everything I've got to offer, but I haven't seen everything he's got to offer.
Well, he's saying that you don't have anything that he hasn't seen before.
Yeah. Okay. He'll see. He's fought guys like me. I think the closest probably fighter he's fought like me was Volkan Usman, power wise, and Glover Teixeira maybe. But there's just things that I can do that I haven't shown yet. And yeah, he's probably seen guys like me, but he's never seen Jimmy Crute. So in terms of people like him that I've fought, he's probably right. I've probably never fought anyone like him, but I've definitely seen him in the training room. I've definitely watched him. I've definitely experienced it outside of fights. So I know it's all different when you make that walk and it's in the octagon, but as I've said 100 times today, I'm just going to focus on what I've got to do.
And then he had 30+ fights when you made your pro debut, and he had just jumped up to light heavyweight, I think a month before you made your UFC debut. When did Anthony Smith become an opponent you wanted to fight? Was it after he fought John Jones, or were you even aware of him before that?
I first watched Anthony Smith. The first Anthony Smith fight I really took notice of was against Shogun. We were over in Vegas, and I just finished my was it before or after my Contender Series fight? It was one of them. And
I think it was the same month.
It was the same week. So it really stuck out to me, being over there and seeing that. And then, I know, any top guy, not just Anthony Smith, any top guy, I want to fight. So, yeah, that's it.
And what do you make of the Jan Blachowicz and Glover Teixeira title fight coming up at the end of the year?
I'm excited for that one. I have so much respect for both those guys, Jan and Glover. I really like Glover, so I'm going to go with Glover just from my heart. But it's definitely can go either way.
You still living in a van?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
I bought a house.
Why the change?
Because you try living in a in a car park for a year straight.
Fair play. And then finally, who do you like in the main event between Usman and Masvidal?
If I was going to put money down, I'd put it on Usman.
Yeah, Jimmy, right here in the front. In recent years, we've seen a rise in talent from Australia and New Zealand. What would you contribute that most to?
I feel like Australia and New Zealand have always had really, really high level kickboxing, and Australia's always had really, really high level jiu-jitsu, but we've never been able to blend it. And I feel like just the sport of evolving and growing, our mix of striking and grappling, and judo in Australia too. Judo is massive in Australia. So our mix of our different sort of styles coming together has sort of done things a little bit differently to the rest of the world, and it's hard to prepare for. Australia has a very specific striking style, whether it be Muay Thai, karate, boxing. It's if you can normally tell when you see an Australian fight, they get in there and they go. So yeah, I feel like we do things a little bit differently.
And what would you say fans should expect for your upcoming bout against Anthony Smith?
What fans should expect? Definitely me getting my hand raised, and a good fight until it's not good for Anthony Smith.
Thanks, Jimmy.
No problem.
They're just insane off their back, so I'm not too worried about me getting in trouble if I'm on top of them, especially if the strikes are loud. Is the strikes and elbows allowed in this one?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, I'll be all right.
Jorge Masvidal wins via TKO at the end of the third round when the cage-side doctor stops the fight due to cuts over Nate Diaz's eyes.
If the fight wasn't going to get stopped, what was going to be your game plan for the fourth and fifth round?
Well, I swear to God, I initially was like, man, I hope I'm haven't been running, because my confidence wasn't as high as it is, because I'm running and I'm putting these miles that people can't keep up with, except for Jose and Allen. but when I'm like that, I could go 95% for the whole time. You know what I'm saying? So this time there was like little bump ups of how hard I was gonna like tell myself, okay, ease up. And I was like, around the third round, I've started to feel him start grabbing onto me. On the fence, you could see he was like holding me on the fence one time, and I was like, this fool's gonna go for a takedown or something, or start drilling me with these knees. And he wasn't doing anything. I was like, oh, okay, you're just preserving. So I started smacking him in his face this way, like that, and his head turned to the side. I started smacking him in his face this way. Not even technical fighting schoolyard. Like, oh, you're gonna just hold me? I'm just gonna smack you in your face as many times. So, and on the bottom, and I was hitting him. I was like, where you at, motherfucker? And then he spit it back. Oh, I'm right here. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, I hear you starting to fade away. I think it's gonna start getting better for me. And then I go back to my corner, and I'm telling my corner over here, they're talking to me. I'm like, Ken, let's calm down a little bit. Cause I always get a ruckus out the corner cause I bleed everywhere. And so I'm like, hey, let's just chill so I can breathe. And I'm looking over here, I'm like, yeah, I think this guy's easing up. I think if it's gonna get better for me, it's gonna start getting better for me right now. And then the guy's like, oh, I'm like, no, we good. And he's like, okay, we're good. And he goes over and he stops the fight. And I'm like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? That pisses me off, you know what I'm saying? It makes me really mad.
One more.
As far as painting my Picasso, I almost got to do it, you know. I heard a lot of comments, I read a lot of media stuff, people talking about when the later the fight goes, or if the fight hits the ground, or in certain situations, I'd be outworked and outclassed. Not happening. I want somebody to pull up a fight that I've faded in the fourth or fifth round. That's not gonna happen. What happened in the third was just gonna keep happening in the fourth and in the fifth. I haven't eaten either, so I was ready to fuck him up. Keep going, man. Nate's a fucking dog, though. There's those same shots I've hit a lot of people. I pulled him like a long chair. You literally got to kill that dude. I said in every review leading up to this, or it wasn't a line, man. You got to kill that dude. I'm the most competitive person this whole fucking company's ever seen, man. I don't want nothing to take my greatness to say some guy tripped on the pebble and that's how I beat him. That's not me. I want to end him. I want to send him off to another dimension. I got nothing but respect for the dude, but that's the type of artwork I like to do. I didn't get it on this one. Are we gonna rematch tomorrow, next week? I don't know, but it will happen at some point, you know.
Conor McGregor said that he is going to come back January 18th. And Dana White said,
Come back to what?
To MMA, to the UFC.
What do you mean, like fighting in the cage?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That dude's been talking wild for a second. If he fights and gets a victory, and he wants this, and some of you motherfuckers are mean, man, because you know what the fuck I'll do to that little dude, bro. I'll fuck that little guy up, man. He's a fucking midget. Dana White, president of this motherfucking company, said I'm too much man for him. I get it why people want to see him hurt for the stunts he's been pulling, but he don't want this shit. He's just talking so he can get his name out there. He was cheering for Nate. He wanted to run it back with Nate. You think he's at home seeing that fight saying, I want to fight that dude? That dude ain't retarded. You see, he punches old people in the face because those are fights that he could win. He don't want this shit.
Chris, hey, what's going on? Not
Hey, you
much,
guys,
how are
man.
I'm
good.
I'm curious, not to start out with something heavy here, but the documentary that came out this week about your brother and everything, has that added an extra layer of emotion to this fight week for you in any way?
Not really. I think it was a good thing for us. It allowed me, me and my brother both to, become closer through the whole thing and be more open with each other. So I think it's a good thing. I think it was a good thing. It was almost like something that was always in the back of my mind that would bother me that we didn't talk about. Now, him doing the interview and the documentary coming out allowed us to talk about it, and it's better for our relationship.
Did you watch it?
Did he watch it?
No, did you watch it?
I watched it. Yeah.
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 Was it emotional for you to kind of relive all that stuff?
Yeah, I think Rory Karp did a great job with the documentary. And yeah, there's just some of it, definitely got me like a little teary eyed, but nothing crazy. I didn't start bawling. It was all stuff I knew, but it was cool the way he put it all together.
Good. Well, back to business.
Yes,
this
sir.
fight was obviously supposed to happen earlier this year. Just how are you feeling, physically and everything after the delay, and how are you feeling coming into this fight week?
I feel great. I haven't gotten out of shape since my last fight in August. I've just been in the gym, which really hasn't happened in a long time. Probably the last time it was like my Machida fight since I was in this type of shape. Just being in a new atmosphere, moving down to South Carolina and then being at new gyms and being around different people, different training partners, put myself in uncomfortable situations, and that's how you grow. And for a long time, I was in very comfortable situations in my gym on Long Island, people I've been training with forever, pretty much me and my boy Volante, Sarah Longo. And so it's been good to get some different looks. And, for this camp, we had Anthony Smith come out for a week. I had Wonder Boy. I have two up-and-coming fighters who come from a Division I wrestling background, who are my size, some veterans of the sport are my size. So just a lot of good bodies, my weight or bigger. So I haven't had that in a long time. If you look at the Sarah Longo squad, it's a lot of smaller guys. We got a great squad. But as far as training partners for me, it was mostly Volante.
Yeah, rematches are always interesting. You've had them before in your career and everything, but for the guy who wins and it's so many years later and everything, just what do you kind of feel about running this back with Uriah at this stage?
I'm excited about it. I think it's a cool story that we fought so long ago on a local show and still are at the top in the UFC, the top promotion in the world, and we get to have a rematch. So I think it's cool. I know he's super motivated about it, to have a second chance at me, being that I was the first person to ever beat him. And then, obviously to finish him, it's a scar that's probably on him. So his excitement excites the crap out of me because I'm not just going to lay down for him. I am very, very prepared. And I'm looking to just create a resurgence in my career here.
Do you think, obviously, like you said, a long time ago, a lot's changed since then, but when you're in there, do you try to put him in some of the similar positions and kind of give him a reminder and things like that?
I mean, of course, if you watch that last fight, I would love to just hit him with the right to the left hook, and drop him. I mean, it was a pretty flawless fight on my behalf. So if I could do that, that would be great. I think it's a similar fight as far as back then it was, his greatest chance of beating me was on the feet, and my greatest chance, what most people thought would be on the ground, but it just so happened that I knocked him out. I don't think in this world, in this lifetime, he's going to be taking me down and submitting me. So I think the same thing is at stake here, where there's danger on the feet, and I have to be prepared for that. And but he has to be prepared for the same issue on the feet. And then as far as the ground, I think I'm just on a different level for sure.
And you talk about the resurgence. I know you want to fight Izzy. You've said that you think you're a bad matchup for him. Seeing the fight with Jan, did that reinforce that in your mind? You know, some of the things that happened in there?
Yeah, seeing that fight, seeing how, you know, a strong guy was able to out-grapple him and get the takedowns, it definitely reaffirmed the thoughts that I had on that fight. That being said, you know, I got some work to do. I got Uriah Hall. I don't expect to be fighting Adesanya next. I do know I'm a bad matchup for him. I think it's a fight that when I'm able to prove it to everybody, people are going to want to see.
And last thing for me, obviously you know Aljamain Sterling very well. I'm just curious to know your thoughts on just where he is right now. You know, the feedback he's gotten from winning the title, and you know the fallout of everything that's happened with him.
Well, it's unfair, the treatment he's got, for sure. As far as you know, he did nothing wrong in that fight. He was losing the fight. You know, there's no question about it. He's going to be the first one to tell you. But he didn't stop marching forward. His will to win never wavered. And it's Jan's issue that he decided to knee him while he was down. That's something that he should be getting a lot of backlash for. But really, it turned on Aljamain. And as far as the way he's handling it now, I think he's just kind of rolling with the punches, you know, and I think he felt the backlash, and as opposed to kind of like backing down from it and just getting super quiet, and I think he just kind of decided to go full force onto it. So now the belt's around his waist, and he's not afraid to tell you. And he does the whole Oscar thing, you know, he's taking it really well, you know, for the amount of hate he's getting. But it's definitely unfair. But now at this point, he's creating more hate for himself, almost on purpose. So,
Chris, Uriah was in here earlier, and he said in the back of his mind, he always knew he'd probably rematch you at some point. Did you ever think you would rematch him now once he got into the UFC?
You know, I think it was probably on the back of my mind too. I always felt like we were going to fight. I knew he was a very talented guy, and I'm happy that he has had a career that he's, you know, we're still doing this 11 years later, you know, and we're both from New York. It's pretty cool. Yeah, so I think it was always kind of in the back of my mind at some point it would happen. You know, obviously I always envisioned, you know, I was undefeated world champion and defending my belt. I expected to just keep defending it and then retire. I didn't expect to have all these, you know, losses and then, you know, coming back and forth. And but it's pretty cool how we you know, both of our careers didn't end up exactly the way we expected. They very rarely do, other than Khabib. But yeah, I'm excited to get in that cage with him.
What have you made of his recent string of success? He himself has said he's finally kind of putting it all together mentally. He's got a good home gym now. So
Yeah.
What have you made of his recent success?
Happy for him. You know, it's good for him. You know, got a good win over Anderson Silva's last fight. And I like to see him with confidence. You know, so I don't want to fight a guy who's just in his own head and he's gonna just freeze out there and just hand it over. I want to create that. You know, I want to be the reason why he breaks, not because he breaks himself.
Then looking back on that first fight, what do you remember about the build-up to that fight? Because Uriah was he was in here kind of making jokes about how Long Island's not really part of New York and like upstate's not part. Like he was like he's like Queens, Brooklyn, Bronx. Like those are that's New York. So
well, Queens and Brooklyn are on Long Island, aren't they? Yeah, Queens and Brooklyn are on Long Island. But that being said, yeah, come on, Long Island's not New York. Come on, I'm gonna smack him. Now he's gonna get beat up. Wait, so you're in my head with that. What?
He was just joking about the build-up to the last. He was talking about the build-up to the last fight.
Oh, okay,
the
yeah.
rivalry in the
There
New York
was
scene.
definitely like a rivalry going on. It was my first real like bad blood in a fight. You know, I was 2-0 going to that fight. He was, I think, 3-0 or 4-0 or something, and he was the champion. We both had dominated everybody that we had fought before that. And he had a huge team. Being in Tiger Showman's in New York, in the tri-state area, they have like 40, 50 gyms or something like that. And so everybody goes to Tiger Showman's. Like if you do karate as a kid, you're going to Tiger Showman's, and you grow up and you want to do MMA, you're going to be going, you know, you're coming out of Tiger Showman's. And the Cerro Longo team, since we had such great fighters, we won really 2 gyms, Cerro's gym and Longo's gym. We had great fighters. We started really competing with them, and you know, we were winning a lot. And there kind of was a rivalry that was building. And then you had the top prospect in me and the top prospect in Uriah Hall. And anybody from our gym thought I was going to be unbeatable, and there's no way I'm losing. And everybody from his gym thought there was no way he was losing. And the biggest thing that I take away from the build up to that fight was I remember I got a message on Facebook from a girl that I went to high school with, and she had done karate at Tiger Showman's, and she, I guess, was still training there. And I got a message saying, Chris, just please be careful. I love you, but please be careful. He's very different. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, you have no idea who you're talking to. So I just like remember being super motivated by that, you know. And wanted to prove like there's levels and I'm up there.
Back to the Sterling DQ loss. Did you get any flashbacks to your fight against Mousasi? Like, there's just a lot of confusion after that fight too.
Oh, that sucked. I didn't really have any flashbacks to that. It just the kneeing when someone's down thing is just it's so different everywhere. You know, a lot of times I don't even know what it's going to be for the show. I'm not even sure. I got to ask. But sometimes, like, so when I fought Mousasi, it was the first time that you had to have not just both hands down, but your palms down as well. And so that's hard to like decipher what's going on in that fight in that moment. You know, when you know you're tired and the pressure's on, it's hard to figure out, you know, what's up and what's down. And now recently, it's like even just if one hand, you know, is down, one finger is down, you're considered down. So as crazy as it sounds to most people, in the heat of the moment, it really is sometimes a confusing situation. That's why you really want to kind of fall to being more conservative there. You don't want to just knee, you know. And the Aljamain thing was very blatant. You know, Mousasi, when he kneed me, he picked I had my palms actually flat down on the mat, and when he kneed me, he actually pulled me up a little bit. So my palms my fingers were all down, but my palms were down. So the ref thought it was illegal. He told me it was illegal, take my time, and I thought it was illegal too. And then come to find out, they look at the replay and say it's not. It was actually a legal shot in that state at that time. So I would like to have more unified rules. I think it's either just allowed kneeing completely down opponents or just maybe just the fingers. I just think it's sometimes hard to decipher with all different rule sets we have.
And finally, who do you like in the main event between Usman and Masvidal?
I can't make a prediction. I'm seeing these guys as I walk through these hallways.
Well, you don't have to give a prediction like this.
No, I'm not telling it. I got nothing. Good fight.
Chris, back here.
What's up, man? How are you?
Been lots of.
I know, man. I remember seeing you in Vegas all the time.
I still make moves.
Look at you. You making big moves. I love it.
So at this stage of your career, how big of a deal would it be to get a shot and get back to Adesanya and get back on that big stage with all you've been through?
Yeah, it would mean so much. I think it would be a great story for me, and it would end my career on a great note. I think I have all the potential in the world. I just have to do the right things. And for a long time, I got away from working the way I should be working, and I wasn't in the gym all the time. I was cutting a lot of corners as opposed to as far as instead of doing as much work as possible, I was always looking to do as little work as possible, and it was working for me for a couple of the fights that I was winning. So it kind of gave positive reinforcement to some bad habits. I think even with the move, getting out of my environment that I was so accustomed to and comfortable with, and like the habits I had, even just moving, I think allowed me to kind of get back to falling in love with the sport again, just being in the gym to learn. And I haven't left the gym. I've been in the gym nonstop, and that hasn't happened since probably, like I said, like before my Machida fight was the last time I was doing that. And even for my Vitor fight, that's when I started really like kind of slacking off with my training.
So how much would you say you have left in the tank? Because a lot of these youngsters look at you as the old guard, like with Anderson and Machida and them, when you're like right in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, I look good, and I look good. I move good, and you see me in the gym, I look good. I'm going to look good on Saturday night, and I think my work will speak for itself.
I'm not trying to retire you, but looking back on your career, do you think you have done enough to be a UFC Hall of Famer with all you've done so far up to this point in your career?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I won the belt and I defended it 3 times for some of the greatest of all times. The only person that defended the belt in the middleweight division longer than me is Anderson Silva, who I beat twice. So I don't think there's a question. Not that I'm banking on it or I'm obsessing over it, that doesn't make or break me. I'm just being honest about the answer about that question.
And where's the confidence of going that you got the guy, that you're the guy to get that belt from? Is it because you kind of got the guy, the original guy? Is that, so to speak? I know they're two different fighters, but is that what that confidence is? I've done it once, I could do it again?
No.
Or is it just like a different place, different time?
It's just obvious to me. Like if let's say Yoel Romero was the champion, stylistically it's not the best matchup. A super strong wrestler who hits hard. You know, for me that's probably like not the best matchup. But I've always done good against strikers, long strikers, guys who are very dynamic on the feet. But usually if you grab them, they're a little weaker but they have great endurance. Like those are the type of guys that I grab because I have great endurance too. And so I could grab these guys and bring them into my world, and my grappling is just on a different level than theirs, and I could finish them. And so Adesanya, I've seen even before the Blachowicz fight, I've seen, you know, that he's a guy that I just match up really well against, and I know I could get to him. He's gonna have to worry even on the feet. You know, he does a great job with his range. He's got great feints. I'm a fan of him on the feet. I watch a lot of the stuff he does, and I emulate it myself in the gym. But that being said, I close the distance on him. I get my hands on him. It's we're just two different levels of human beings in those situations.
And one thing I always liked about you play video games, you watch other sports. What you think about the Askren Paul thing the other day? Did you get to catch that? And what you think about the
I
fallout?
caught it. I saw him get dropped, and I shut it off immediately and pretended like it didn't happen. I was like, I'm not even going on Twitter. I was like, I just can't believe what I just watched. And that whole situation is kind of annoying as hell to watch as a fighter. First of all, you watch that Triller event. Like I thought, like the commentating, everything was very disrespectful to the actual fighters in the boxing ring. Usually, you hear like uplifting type commentating where they look at the fighters as if they're, you know, special people, and they look up to them with all the hard work they put in and how they put their bodies on the line. If you watch like Oscar De La Hoya when he was talking about Frank Mir and the way they were like commentating, I just thought was like really disrespectful to fighters. So I didn't like that. That whole event was super weird. And then as far as Jake Paul and Ben Askren, I mean, Ben Askren is a guy who's an Olympian. He's accomplished so much. I got nothing but respect for him with what he's accomplished in mixed martial arts and definitely wrestling. Big fan of him since I'm a kid. And but as far as a boxing wise goes, if you had to pick one fighter that's, you know, doesn't have hands, he never needed them in MMA. He was able to dominate not in the UFC but in other organizations, and he could have won some big fights in the UFC too. I think he had the tools to do it just with his wrestling and his grappling. But he never had striking. So then he retires from MMA. He gets a hip replacement, and then he gets called out to do a boxing fight. And now he's labeled. He's a fighter. He's a mixed martial artist, but he was really known for like not having hands at all. And so now you got Jake Paul with his elevated ego, and his whole squad calling out MMA guys. I'm just like, someone needs to put an end to this.
My question, would you be that guy? And with all the craziness, the disrespect on the play-by-play, would you do it for the money? That's 1.3 billion buys.
Listen, of course, I would love to smash his face, and he would have no chance of beating me. But I also, like, it's crazy. You know, you probably make good money doing that, but I want to fight the best guys in the world. Like, and Cormier said it good too, because he was calling out Cormier, and he's like, yo, why? Like, who is this guy? I don't care how much money I'm going to get paid. Like, why does this guy deserve to fight me? What has he done to fight me? And you don't want to be like an egomaniac, but really, like, the guy hasn't earned anything, you know? So on the other side of the token, I don't even want to give him that opportunity.
Hey, Chris, right here, straight down the middle.
Yes, sir.
It's been a busy month for the middleweight division at the top. I was wondering, what did you think of the performances by Marvin Vettori and Robert Whittaker?
So Marvin Vettori, I thought looked good. He got the job done, but I don't think it was like, I wasn't blown away by it. You know, it wasn't his best performance. He fought Kevin Holland, who he fought like 2 weeks before that, and there was a playbook on how to beat him, and he still wasn't able to finish him. Had him in arm chokes, and he didn't know how to finish arm choke. But Whittaker looked outstanding to me. I think he deserves a title shot. You know, Vettori needs to win, I think, another one. But he's right there. You know, I think Whittaker looked the best he's ever looked, and I thought when he fought Adesanya the first time, he was kind of like uncharacteristically like really lunging into punches and like really wild, and he wasn't as calculated and like slick and using his footwork as he usually is. And I'm excited to see that rematch.
I know obviously you want to be the guy to take out Adesanya at middleweight, but what do you think about Robert Whittaker's chances in the rematch?
Yeah, no, I think Robert Whittaker has a chance, definitely chances to beat him. Yeah, so listen, I love Robert Whittaker too as a person. Like, he's just a cool dude, such a good person. So I will not. I don't like to wish bad on anybody, to be honest. I don't like to. I don't hope for anybody to lose. Obviously, someone has to win, but yeah, I think Whittaker has a chance in there. And obviously, I would love to fight Adesanya and be the one who dethrones him, because everybody. I love that feeling of everybody thinking you have no chance at beating somebody, and then you go out there and prove it. So I would love that opportunity, but if Whittaker's the one to do it, good for him.
My final question, you gave us your thoughts. What do you think that Ray Longo and Matt Serra are going to say about Uriah Hall saying Long Island isn't part of New York?
I don't. What are you kidding me? I don't know. I don't really have like a good rebuttal on that. I just think it's stupid. I mean, listen, we're not upstate. We're not upstate New York. Now, that's not New York. That's what we say.
Chris, to the left over here. To your left. I want to go back to the kind of the knees thing again, and just where do you stand on like grounded knees and the legality? Are you for them being there? I think it would benefit your style a little bit, but just what do you think about them?
You're just not used to seeing it for a long time. Obviously Pride and stuff, and some of the shows in Asia and Russia, I think, allow it. But I mean, for me and my style, it makes perfect sense. And obviously, we're always trying to get closer and closer to as real of a street fight as possible, but also being, but keeping the athlete safe. And I'm not sure, like, the science behind, like, if you learn how to protect yourself properly, even from the knees on the ground, if it's that much of an issue health-wise to the fighters on the ground. If they're, if you're focused on stopping that, I wouldn't be opposed to having knees completely legalized on the ground.
Yeah, and as for your style in general, the last fight, we saw a little bit of some Wonder Boy karate movement from you. Just curious if we can expect more of that in this fight?
Yeah, I like mixing it up. I mean, as martial artists, you have to be completely open-minded to every martial art that's ever been around. And I do what makes the other person feel uncomfortable, So when I'm in there and I'm working, like if I'm in a traditional stance and I feel like he's getting off and I'm not, and like he feels comfortable and I don't, I'm going to switch it up. I might switch it to southpaw. I might, go Wonder Boy style on him. Might be crazy pressure into my wrestling. Khabib. I take pieces of so many different MMA fighters on what they do great, and I try to create my own.
And last thing for me, I know you've collaborated with Monster a bit in the past and whatnot. Just curious your thoughts on Dominic Cruz's call out of that and Hans Molenkamp.
I don't know what you're talking about. What?
All right.
What?
Yeah, Chris, so your last fight ended a 2-fight losing streak for you. What contributed to your success against Amari, and how would that translate into this fight?
See, I think that fight, Ariel Helwani said it, I think it makes sense. I think that one's going to age well. I think Amari is a really tough guy, a tough outing for anybody. Big, strong wrestler from Dagestan, good grappler, and just he's tough. He doesn't give up. And you could see in his last fight, he dominated a tough kid. That fight was just a battle of wills. That it came down to that third round, and I was able to outwill him and get good positioning. And that fight, really, the biggest takeaway for me was how exhausted I was for about 40 minutes after that fight. I was just just on a whole nother level of tired, and I don't ever want to be like that again. So I really, going into that fight, that was really strong during the COVID times, and I was in New York and training, and my partners and everything. It just really wasn't ideal, so I didn't get the best work in, and it hurt me in that fight. Thank God I got the win, but I wasn't where I wanted to be. Cardio-wise, so this camp, it wasn't even just during this camp, it's been literally since then. I've been focused on staying in shape and getting in better and better shape.
And last one for me, assuming you have a victory on Saturday night, what do you think is next for you? What do you want to get to that title shot against Adesanya?
I want to go out there and let the fans choose, and decide when they want me to fight, and I got to do that by, making some big statements. And I don't expect it to be right after this Uriah Hall fight. I expect to fight another big name after that. And if it takes another one after that, it takes another one. But I think probably 2 fights in spectacular fashion, I really get to show my potential. I think people are going to be wanting to see me fight for the title.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
That dude ain't retarded. You see, he punches old people in the face because those are fights that he could win. He don't want this shit. Thank you guys, man. Good questions today, man. You guys keep it up, step it up. I like this, stepping it up.
December 14th, 2019, UFC 245, Usman versus Covington, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Nobody cares about you. Gas out in 3 rounds.
Listen,
Gassed out.
bottom line is
Everybody knows you're on.
Everybody thought my last fight was going to be competitive.
$25,000 if you can pee in a cup right now and it passes.
Put your money up.
I will. I'll put it up right now.
Bring it out. Pull it
I'll
up.
put it up right now. 25 grand.
Is the money sitting in your
Right
private
now.
jet?
It is, buddy.
What do you make of this insinuation from Colby that you're on steroids, you can't miss in a cup?
We had your opponent in here earlier.
They all say that, with the way I'm beating guys.
To keep this fight off the ground, and that's how he wins. Is that a pretty accurate analysis for him, you think?
I guess, yeah. If it goes to the ground, he knows I know he's in trouble, 100%. And I don't think he can keep me away from there for 3 rounds. I don't think it's even possible for him to keep me from getting him on the ground within 3 rounds. I only need short time on the ground, and I think I can put him away. But granted, if I get him down in the first round and he gets up off of exploding or whatever, that's fine. It's still 2 more rounds to go. You still got to weather through that.
And I know you told me the other day that you think the first round or 2 may be a little competitive, but once it gets late, you think that's when it really opens up for you.
100%. 100%.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Brandon, right here. What do you make of Kevin Holland saying that you're the better fighter in this division compared to like the Derek Brunsons and the? I'm sure you heard he said you're a better fighter than Vettori and Brunson. What do you make of when a fighter of that magnitude saying stuff like that?
I truly believe that in my heart, that I'm better than a lot of these guys, if not all of them on the roster. I had a setback in the last one. Just slip up on my part, got caught. It is what it is. Hopefully we'll run that one back. But I've been trying to fight Vettori, when things happen. I tried to fight him when Holland fought him. And, I feel I'm better than all these guys. It's just up to me to go in there and show that, to show what I already know and what my teammates know.
And looking at that last loss, that was your first TKO loss, correct?
Yes, sir.
Dwight Grant was in here, and he's coming off a similar situation where he's coming off his first stoppage loss, and it said it kept him up at night because he said if you get beat up, you get beat up. If you make one tiny mistake, that's what keeps you up, all tossing and turning all night. Are you in a similar situation like that?
No, I sleep just fine at night. I'm good. It's just more frustrating than anything to know that I'm better than him as a fighter. He just caught me. It hit me. I wasn't in a position to take the punch, and he hit me dead in my temple. So it was weird because everything was just black. I just closed my eyes, but I could still kind of feel my body moving and doing stuff. And I felt like him swinging at me, but it was just black. I couldn't see anything. And as soon as I stood up, it's like someone literally turned the lights on. It was really weird. But obviously that was the first time that ever happened. But I don't plan to have that happen again, at least for a little while. So.
Back here, does that motivate you to get that bad taste out your mouth? That's Saturday night?
Yeah, it's definitely motivation, of course. But I know that I just got to show a different side of myself that people have yet to see, the smarter side of me. So that's all it's ever about for me is just putting the guy that's in the gym into the cage. And then once that happens, we're money.
How have you improved mostly as a fighter since we first saw you in 2019 on Dana's show?
I still feel very even keel. I feel very go with the flow. But I think the emotions that sometimes surround fighting, I've evolved a lot on and matured on. And I've kind of grown up in this game as a whole. So I'm constantly learning and growing and maturing. So I still think there's a little bit more to go maybe as far as maturing, but I feel like I've had a little bit of everything happen to me since I've been fighting. So I feel like a true vet, and I just got to go out there and show that I can make those audibles where I messed up at last time.
Does it mean anything, be having the crowd here, being that you're used to fighting in that kind of crazy little quiet atmosphere, or does it make any difference at the end of the day?
I don't feel it when I'm in there, but I'm really excited for the walkout. I can't say it enough. I'm very excited for the walkout. Feel that different vibe, that energy that the fans will bring, and then obviously after, if you hit a big shot or a good finish, having that roar of the crowd, that's going to be it's going to be one that we haven't, hell, no one's felt for a while. So I think it'll be exciting, and it's a great card. And I feel like my fight specifically is a sleeper on the card. So I think it'll be good.
What's your walkout song and why you pick it?
Oh, my walkout song is going to be Tour de France from my guy, Dirty Sauce Dallas. He's from England. I picked it because it's he's a friend of mine as well, but my really good friend's brother, and he just made it while we were here in Florida. He went back to England already, but yeah, it'll be exciting. He doesn't even know that I'm using it yet. So it's a surprise for him too. Huh? Yeah, you will now, huh?
Lastly, for me, with a win, you were almost on for a perfect 2020. You had the last one app. With a win, get the sales back going towards that steam you built it up with the 6-7 wins in a row that you were streak that you had, but that got snapped.
Yes, sir. I definitely believe with a good win over Carl, it puts me right back where I was, which is why I was trying to fight anyone I could right there. Jocko, I was trying to fight as well, but it's like I'm just trying to get right back there. A win over Carl, an impressive win at that, puts me right back in ready for a top 15 guy, or who knows, something happened in a fallout, maybe, everything with COVID, I can get someone higher. And that's all I'm trying to do is just climb up and trying to get to the top to where, I fight for money and to be the best. I'm very competitive. So, I think a win here puts me right back in it, and hopefully I can get the winner of Strickland and Jotko after they fight next weekend. Good.
Yeah, I got a question up front, Brennan. Ever since 2016, you have not fought less than 3 times in a calendar year. What is your key to staying active, and do you plan to fight consistently in 2021?
So for 2021, I was actually trying to fight back to like 4 or 5 times a year, maybe 6 even if I could, but now I'm fighting in April, so maybe won't be that much, hopefully 4. But just the reason I was always 3 was financially, and then I just wanted to be home with my family. But I'm ready to just go for it and just get back to where I need to be financially to get to where I can move to Florida and spend all the time with my family instead of being gone so much. But just staying consistent just revolves around health.
And last thing from me, I just want to get your thoughts and prediction on the main event on Saturday.
Ooh, that's a good one. Man, that's tough. I honestly, I really don't know who is going to win, but I feel like Usman's probably got the best cardio in the UFC. So I think through the duration, if it goes the distance, 100% Usman, but if it's a finish, I think it would be Masvidal on the feet.
Thanks, Brennan.
Thank you. Cool. Thank you all.
Thanks for watching the UFC 261 Media Day live stream. We will be live streaming the 261 press conference tomorrow starting at 4 p.m. Eastern.